consultation at 800-593-0627. Again, 800-593-0627. Call 800-593-0627. That's 800-593-0627.
Prepare your senses for everything the 17th Annual Fresno Fall Home Improvement Show has to offer. Sponsored by Balanced Comfort Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing this weekend at the Fresno Fairgrounds. Experience the astonishing sights, the intriguing sounds, the mouth-watering tastes, and the luxurious smells. Stroll through the Tiny House Expo and get a glimpse of what life is like living tiny. Learn from the experts on gardening, flowers, kitchen and bath, landscaping, and more. Indulge yourself in gourmet food, then sample craft spirits from the cocktail corner. Shop a unique collection of beautiful, locally handcrafted products spread throughout the Makers Market. From tiny to traditional, the Fresno Fall Home Improvement Show and Tiny House Expo has something for everyone. Let us inspire you and help improve your home one project at a time. Experience it for yourself at the Fresno Home Show this weekend at the Fresno Fairgrounds. More info at fresnoshows.com. That's fresnoshows.com.
For Rudy Salas, life is one big party. Salas didn't show up for work almost 450 times, but he always showed up to collect his taxpayer-funded paycheck. And Rudy Salas made sure to show up for free luxury vacations and lavish parties paid for by lobbyists and special interests. And while Rudy Salas was out having a good time, we got hammered by higher inflation and the Salas 73-cent per gallon increase in the price of gas, costing us more every time we buy groceries or fill up our tank. Rudy Salas shouldn't represent us because he only looks out for himself. David Valadeo is on our side, a farmer and bipartisan problem solver. David Valadeo passed landmark legislation to improve health care, help veterans, and protect our water. David Valadeo is fighting for the Central Valley.
I'm David Valadeo. I'm running for Congress, and I approve this message.
Call All-Britain now for your $129 complete furnace revitalization.
Makes your heater blow like it's young again.
Online at allbritain.com.
KMJ.
This is the Valley's election headquarters. News Talk 580 AM, 105.9 FM, KMJ Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
Sunny and 56 at Radio City. It's 2 o'clock. I'm Liz Kern in the KMJ newsroom. She was holding her baby when they were both shot to death. New details released in the killing of 18-year-old Yaneli Solorio Rivera and her 3-week-old baby girl Celine in southwest Fresno. It was just before 7:30 in the morning on Saturday, September 24th. Officers found their bodies at a home on Fruit Avenue near Jensen. Today, Fresno Police Chief Paco Balderrama says finding their killer is the department's #1 priority.
We have to solve this crime. We have to bring justice to the victims in this case.
Today, the reward has been increased to $25,000 by Valley Crime Stoppers and the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms for tips leading to the arrest of the killer. Call Valley Crime Stoppers at 498-STOP with any leads. An airbag recall as hundreds of thousands of car owners on the road being told to park them or put their life at risk. ABC's Alex Stone has details.
Owners of over 276,000 older vehicles are being told stop driving them immediately. It comes after Takata driver's side airbags exploded. The warning from Stellantis, formerly Fiat Chrysler, saying it involves Dodge Magnum wagons, Dodge Challenger and Charger models, and Chrysler 300 sedans from 2005 to 2010. Stellantis says airbag inflators blew apart in 2 cases, killing 2 people. It suspects a 3rd case. The cars were recalled in 2015, but many never got repaired. It brings fatalities from exploding Takata airbags to at least 32 globally. Alex Stone, ABC News.
President Biden is threatening to impose a so-called windfall tax on oil and gas companies he says are reporting record profits, hoping the move will get companies to lower gas prices. Here's Rhiannon Alley reporting.
The American Petroleum Institute saying oil companies do not set prices. Global commodities markets do. Increasing taxes on American energy discourages investment in new production, which is the exact opposite of what is needed. Any new tax would need to come from Congress, but on the state level, California Governor Gavin Newsom has made similar threats, vowing to hold a special session for lawmakers to consider a windfall tax to address what he calls the greed and manipulation.
Refinery issues also playing a role in higher prices, the industry also blaming a supply and demand imbalance. The jackpot keeps on growing. No one won last night's massive Powerball jackpot. KGO's Amadeus has details.
Powerball jackpot now increases to $1.5 billion for Saturday's drawing. It's the highest Powerball jackpot in lottery history. California lottery officials say ticket sales totaled $5.7 million in an hour. This jackpot's run has now brought in $90.5 million for California schools.
The centerpiece for many Thanksgiving tables will be a little bit smaller this year. KMJ's Ag Director Don York explains.
This year's turkey will cost you more and most likely will be smaller. A new CoBank report says that's because of the bird flu, which is now considered the worst in U.S. history. Not just fewer birds, the lowest numbers available in 16 years, but the average slaughter weight is below the 3-year average. Wholesale frozen turkeys are currently selling in the $1.70 per pound range, about 30% higher than a year ago. And fresh boneless breast meat is trading at $6.50 per pound, a 350% increase versus last fall. Don York, KMJ News.
On Wall Street, the Dow ended down 146 points, closing at 32,001. Here's Fox 26's Justin Willis with our Thursday forecast.
Done with the rain for now. Next chance comes Sunday, with rain expected through next Wednesday. But now we're dealing with temperatures 12 to 14 degrees below normal, which is usually 71 in Fresno. Afternoon high today, 57, and cold enough for a frost advisory along the western hills with a freeze warning in Paso Robles. Overnight temps as low as 28 there. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Liz Kern, News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Thank you, Liz. And on the roadways, westbound 180 just east of the 99, they're dealing with an injury accident there. Northbound 99 at Clovis got an animal hazard being reported. And then on Southeast Avenue at East Central, report of a fire at that location. Next update, 217. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Measure C was a mistake 20 years ago, and it's a mistake now. We paid the price, but our kids shouldn't. There's no future in Measure C. Vote no. Ad paid for by No on Measure C 2022.
Now, the Valley's Afternoon Drive. Philip Teresi and Skip Echeverria. From AM Radio 580 to the internet, KMJNow.com. From Warren G. Harding to Let's Go Brandon. From 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's the Afternoon Drive with Philip and Skip. 100 years of KMJ. News, talk, radio.
It's 2:06 at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Good afternoon and welcome to the Thursday installment of your Afternoon Drive. The phone numbers are 490-5858 and toll-free 800-776-5858. On Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, you can follow the show at Drive KMJ, and on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch.tv. You can watch the show also at Drive KMJ. Joshua Weekly is standing by to screen your calls this afternoon as I join Skip Echeverria back in the KMJ studios.
Hello.
Good afternoon. We got a pretty good show coming up this afternoon. Lan He-Chen is a candidate for controller of the state of California. He's going to join us a little bit later this hour to talk about the midterm home stretch. Election day is 4 business days away. Not too early for you to vote if you're going to do it by Dropbox or mail. Matter of fact, if you're going to do it by Dropbox or mail, I'd get on it sooner rather than later. But Election Day is Tuesday. We'll find out how it's going, and I think one hint might actually come from coverage from the Associated Press. We'll talk about Measure P and how that might reflect upon Measure M and Measure E. And a interesting decision by the Madera Cemetery District as Dia de los Muertos got underway to the north. But we're going to start with the Madera County Sheriff announcing the largest drug seizure in the history of Madera County. It was called Operation Trifecta. It led to the arrest of 28 people, 13 of whom lived in Madera County.
Boy, oh boy, congratulations to Sheriff Tyson Pogue and the folks all involved in this. A month-long investigation that was linked to a Mexican cartel It goes all the way back to somebody they first had contact with in 2015 who happened to have 7 pounds of meth in his vehicle.
Yeah, so they kept an eye on this guy and were eventually able to start intercepting communications, and that was the foundation of Operation Trifecta, which led to poundage of meth and fentanyl on display at the Madera County Sheriff's Headquarters.
Yeah. Operation Trifecta kicked off in July. That's when Madera Narcotics Enforcement Team, the High Intensity Investigation Team, and the Fresno Drug Enforcement Administration launched this investigation into Ernesto Beltran. And detectives say he was part of a large-scale Mexico-based drug trafficking organization along with his wife, daughter, and close family friend. So family business.
Meth, heroin, and fentanyl. They had importation, transportation, distribution, manufacturing, and again, 28 arrests made. Everybody's been charged. Everybody's still in custody. And the district attorney from Madera County says this was a great operation.
Yeah, they also were able to shut down 4 meth labs, 1 in Madera County, 1 in Fresno County, and 2 in Tulare County. Here's the breakdown on the math. 2 kilos of fentanyl, 2 kilos of heroin. Huh?
4 kilos.
Oh,
of heroin.
4. Sorry. I was like, what? 4 kilos of heroin, 1,305 pounds of meth.
Over a half ton of meth.
Oh, and 8 firearms.
Good Lord.
That is so much meth.
The sheriff says that he hopes that any other predatory drug dealers see this and decide they're better off operating elsewhere. All of the suspects, you're going to see bonds between $500,000 through $10 million.
And here's the part that we really got to look at California's sentencing laws, because some defendants could be eligible for felony probation, but DA Moreno says that she's optimistic it won't happen based on the size of the operation. No. On the other hand, some of the suspects could face 35 years in state prison or 20 years in Madera County jail.
Oh, God. State prison. Anytime. County jail sucks.
Is state prison worse?
Well, I mean, state prison's prison, whereas jail's jail.
Uh-huh.
County jails aren't really designed for decades-long sentences.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like the
you
Fresno,
get sent somewhere else.
I know you've never had the pleasure of having any length of stay at the Fresno County Jail facility, but one of the things that might be of interest to any aspiring criminals in the greater Fresno area, there's no yard.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because it's just the building.
There's no yard.
So if you had to spend 20 years there.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy, you better sign up for some work details, because otherwise you're not
Wow.
going to see much sunlight.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that they even allowed long sentences like that in a jail. By the way, that's our jail. I don't know how it is in Madera County.
And that's the thing, is the county jails were never meant for that kind of thing. Yeah, given a choice between spending a year in Fresno County or spending 5 in a state prison, I probably would opt for the 5 in the state prison. Understanding that, of course, the food's not going to get any better, but at least I can go outside and play basketball if I've got eyes in the back of my head. So job well done to Madera County and all of the agencies that were involved with the sheriff's office bust here. This is a big deal.
It's a super big deal, and I definitely don't want to take away from all the work that they did, but it's also terrifying that this is just one, because it's so easy to make meth and fentanyl in particular. Heroin still has some organic matter that it's made from, so you got to, grow.
At some point, you got to grow poppies.
Yeah. But the other two are just made in labs, and it is wild, the saturation level that's happening with synthetic substances.
I don't know of any agency that would let a member of the general public, much less a member of the media, come hang out and observe an operation like this underway. Mm-hmm. I would sign whatever confidentiality paperwork they put in front of me to actually witness the mechanics of this as it's in play. Did you ever watch The Wire?
No, I didn't.
This is one of those television dramas that prior to The Sopranos, The Wire was pretty much agreed upon to be like the greatest thing on TV. And the entire series were vice cops in Baltimore going after drug dealers and gangbangers.
Okay.
And a lot of it hinged on their ability to get wiretaps, hence The Wire.
Okay, got it.
And so that was, especially in the first season, that was like a really, really essential plot point, was this public phone that they were finally able to get somebody to give them a wiretap on, because they were able to make the argument that all it was used for was drug dealing.
Mm-hmm.
I know TV is not real. I'm not an idiot. I understand that nothing's solved in 42 minutes, and it's not a bunch of, sexy, snappy dialogue in smoky, dimly lit back rooms. I would still be fascinated to see the mechanics of this operate, and probably the only way most of us will ever even get a hint of it, besides, going through the post academy and becoming a cop and putting in your time and earning your way onto one of these task forces, is sitting on a jury. This is the kind of jury I want to sit on. I want to see how this stuff works. I'm deadly curious about how you investigate this, how you document the evidence on this. I mean, the cops have to do a bunch of paperwork anyways, and you know this. You've got friends who are LE. The job's like 20% what you saw on Cops and 80% typing. I want to know how many people they had banging away at typewriters day and night every time they got another drop off a wiretap, another
or
ping
just
off a cell
had
phone.
to document something. Or I want to see we saw the final project of the branch.
Yeah,
thing, like the flow chart of the bad guys, allegedly. I want to see what the rough drafts of that look like when there were photos and strings.
When they were still in their red yarn phase.
Yarn phase. I think too, we'll have to keep an eye on it, because you have this huge seizure, and then we just heard in Fresno County, the first murder charge for, in this case, it was a woman that was tied to the death of somebody because of fentanyl.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to see this kind of start to splinter out into possibilities like that.
In this and in where we are headed next, as Governor Newsom calls for more aggressive action on homelessness, I think that if you're being serious about it, if you really want a solution, I actually think that both of these things start in the same place. And I'll explain when we get back, but the governor is talking about holding back funds, the homelessness housing assistance and prevention grants. The last round was supposed to go out later this year. And we're talking about something like $1 billion that's going to be put on pause until he has a chance to rally the troops. While I'm in favor of doing stuff about homelessness today, I think that there's a great big piece missing out of that plan.
Well, and what they failed to bring up is the huge connection between the increase in meth specifically and these homeless communities that pop up that you cannot put it into.
We'll dig into it when we get back. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Good afternoon. Glad you guys are here.
On the freeways right now, westbound 180 just east of the 99, they're still dealing with an injury accident. Northbound 99 at Clovis, there's an animal hazard being reported, and they're dealing with a fire now on Southeast Avenue at Central. We'll hopefully have more details on our next update, which is at 2:33. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by the California Department of Public Health. Need a refresher on COVID-19 safety? Mask up in public indoor settings, test, stay home when feeling sick, and get vaccinated and boosted to keep your immunity strong. Learn more at covid19.ca.gov.
Madera County's mountain communities need principled and experienced leadership. That's why we need to elect Bobby McCauley as our Madera County Supervisor in District 5. Bobby is endorsed by Sheriff Tyson Pogue and District Attorney Sally Marino, and is a third-generation resident of our mountain communities. Bobby McCauley will prioritize public safety, forest management, our small businesses, and water for our farmers. Vote Bobby McCauley for Supervisor on November 8th.
Paid for by the Friends of Robert McCauley for Supervisor 2022.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202 now. I'm here with spokesman for the firm, John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call in.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here with you. We always enjoy answering the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now to speak with a live agent for free. Call 800-843-4202.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
With so many used car lots, big and small, how do you know the difference? Take a look at Central Valley Fleet. Hand-picked pre-owned vehicles priced right and backed by Scott and Katie Beal, who've always done you right. SUVs to muscle cars to lifted trucks and the best-selling passenger vehicles, Central Valley Fleet has yours. And unlike any other pre-owned vehicle center in the valley, even the national guys, Central Valley Fleet has an on-site service center to back up your vehicle. Central Valley Fleet on West Shaw, next to Harley-Davidson, across from Costco.
This is Jim Patterson. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to represent you in the California State Assembly. And I'm asking for your vote to continue the good work we're doing together. I've shined the bright light of accountability on state bureaucracies that have failed us, like the EDD, DMV, and high-speed rail. And I've protected your hard-earned tax dollars to make sure you get the services you deserve. The amazing staff in my office has helped thousands of people successfully navigate the infuriating maze of state bureaucracies. And I've worked across party lines to address the fentanyl crisis, provide relief and aid to human trafficking victims, and help homeowners impacted by devastating wildfires. And I'm going to try again to pass Gavin's law to increase prison time for hit-and-run drunk drivers who drink, drive, kill, and run from the scene. Thank you for your vote. I will never take it or you for granted. That's a promise.
Paid for by Patterson for Assembly 2022.
It's the afternoon drive on KMJ. That's Philip. I'm Skip. Thanks for joining us. Also, is it someone's birthday today? Happy birthday, Greg Lane. We'll spare you the singing happy birthday, but we do want to say
Thank you, guys.
happy
That's
birthday.
really nice. Yeah, I'm 41, so
41, not a day older. Happy birthday.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
Okay, so we'll do the warm and fuzzies. Now we're going to go back to how meth is linked to homelessness. So we just talked about Madera County getting this fantastic bust with Operation Trifecta, and they had in their possession 1,305 pounds of meth. We're going to talk about homelessness and Governor Newsom really quick, but I read a really interesting book that got into the stories of fentanyl and meth and the crisis that's happened, right?
Yeah.
The reason why this author proposes that you had such a huge influx of meth or of homelessness rather is because this kind of meth that is processed without using like Sudafed and all those other things that are put in place, it messes people's brains up in a way that's different than old school meth, pure meth or whatever. And it takes away some of those natural tendencies to, maybe I don't want to walk around like a zombie because this meth makes people zombies.
Yeah.
And it does, in some people and a lot of people, trigger kind of schizophrenic type behavior. So like substance induced issues.
Is that the same thing as amphetamine psychosis, or is there, when you're talking to grown-ups that are educated in the issue, is there a distinction?
So my understanding of meth psychosis is probably when you're in an active, intoxicated stage.
So amphetamine psychosis is an acute state. What you are talking about is a chronic condition brought on by the use.
Yeah. So it's kind of like people, well, and if we go back to schizophrenia versus what they think some of this stuff, it looks like schizophrenia, but it's actually caused by meth. Think of diabetes. Sometimes diabetes is brought on because you just have it, right? Like juvenile. Sure. And then sometimes it comes on as a result of diet and exercise. So the thing that they brought up that I was just like mind blown is once you started combining this kind of meth with tents,
as in the thing you camp in.
Camping tents.
Okay.
People had places to use, and then they just kind of created and congregated in these ways. They became places where, because what happens with people that are in massive drug use, so especially this kind that makes you kind of zombie-like, you get kind of ousted, right? And so then there's these communities that are created where meth is running through it, and also like prostitution.
Yeah.
But it's all happening in these little tents because real addiction really does involve a lot of isolation. So that's why you've seen the author, and I believe it too. That's why you've seen this monster growth in homelessness that we're like, wait a second, where did this all come from in the last 10 years or so?
Okay. I can see how that argument is compelling and valid. I'm not sure that it's the entirety of it, but I think that's absolutely has to be recognized as a significant piece. So today, the governor announced that he's going to convene local leaders later this month. He wants to review the state's approach to homelessness and work on new strategies. Initially, there was a plan to reduce street homelessness by 2% statewide by 2024. And it's not happening.
2%?
Yeah.
We can't even make 2% happen?
No.
With how much money? I think we're getting the next batch of $1 billion. The state so far has provided $1.5 billion of flexible emergency aid. How many homeless people how many people are getting a piece of this just as being, paid to be a part of this? Let's see here. But we're about 116,000 people that are unsheltered in California.
What's an Airstream go for right now? Like a really top-notch, 150K?
Oh, I have no idea.
Let's say an absolute top-notch Airstream goes for $150,000. $1 billion would have bought 6,600 and change in top shelf Airstream trailers. Uh-huh. So if you came down a model, you could house 12,000 people just by buying Airstreams.
I think this really highlights, you could call it administrative bloat or poverty pimping.
Yes to both. Absolutely. The other thing that it highlights is that homelessness is not as simple as we don't have enough houses for the people. Mm-hmm. It's not as simple as if we create a structure with 4 walls, a door, and a flushing toilet, we can get these people to go live a civilized life. There is obviously some other elements at play, and I think that what you were talking about with, in particular, the iteration of methamphetamine that is now in circulation and the long-term mental health effects of chronic use. Addicts are turning into zombies. The other piece, in my opinion, is a lack of education and the subsequent lack of opportunity. Mm-hmm. Some of this problem goes all the way back to the undermining of schools and teachers and real meaningful education, combined with a lack of loyalty to the country that gave them so much opportunity by corporations that include manufacturing concerns. What happens to the homelessness rate in Detroit? In theory, if you've got people who are educated enough to work in an auto plant and have an auto plant to work in, how many homeless people come off the street?
Right, because you're going to have stable income, ability to get health care, get your kids enrolled in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the part where
we are going to be living in a country that is full of zombies. Because the education system has gotten worse in the past 20 years, not better.
So I understand what you're saying about the education system and this idea of, this goes back to like No Child Left Behind.
Yes, I think it goes to No Child Left Behind in the social promotion concept. I also think that it goes back to, and I'm not going to get on my soapbox about participation trophies, but I also think that it goes back to the self-esteem before accomplishment movement. That whole idea of tell the kids they're wonderful, build up their self-esteem, tell them that they're going to be, rock stars and millionaires and politicians, and that they're going to be the lords and commanders of the world, except don't tell them that they've got to grind and work their butts off for 2 decades to even start down that road.
So I just made an interesting connection in my brain. On the one side, you had the ones that then never launched, right? Or weren't able to secure housing, a good job, whatever. And so you had this branch over the last 20, 30 years even that went that way. And then you had the branch that went the other way.
Yeah.
That a big chunk of those folks accumulated a whole lot of student debt to be able to go in that direction, to be able to stay away from going the other direction.
Yeah.
Right? Because it wasn't, I graduated 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you told somebody you were going to go to a vocational school. And I was like, really?
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Right? Or you're going to be a truck driver. Now look what truck drivers make.
Truck drivers and UPS drivers are doing okay. We're going to take a break here. We have got the Republican candidate for the controller of the state of California, Lanhee Chen, is going to join us on the phone here in just a minute. We're going to find out how midterms 2020 has been treating him and hear once again why you should consider giving your vote to a Republican candidate for a statewide office. Right now, though, an update of headlines coming from Liz Kern in the KMJ newsroom.
KMJ News now.
NATO warning that Iran is considering supplying Russia with missiles for its war on Ukraine.
NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg saying in addition to the drones it is offering Russia, Iran is now considering ballistic missile deliveries. Stoltenberg went on to call the move unacceptable. He said no country should provide support to Moscow in this illegal war in Ukraine. Inez Delaquatera, ABC News, at the Foreign Desk.
U.S. officials have met with WNBA player Brittany Griner in a Russian prison while they continue to work to free her.
It's the first time American officials have seen Brittany Griner since August.
We are told she is doing as well as can be expected under the circumstances.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre saying the U.S. State Department has made a significant offer to Russia to release Griner from her 9-year prison sentence. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
Pain at the pump leading to a new push for oil industry reform. Other Democrats, including Congressman Mike Levin, want an FTC investigation.
The amount of profit and the amount of money that the refineries are charging is basically tripled from 64 cents to $2.18. And what that has meant is that Californians are now paying such a disproportionately high amount compared to any other state.
Governor Gavin Newsom calling for a special legislative session to take action, blaming greed among oil bigwigs. Turns out we've all been saying a superstar singer's name wrong.
Hello. Most of us have been saying hello to Adele for the past 15 years, but that's not how she pronounces her name. During a recent Q&A with fans, one woman got it right.
Hi Adele, I'm Annie and I'm from London.
It's a little hard to hear the distinction, but the singer praised the woman's proper pronunciation.
She said my name perfectly. Yeah. He came and asked me how I say my name and I was like, Adele.
How was
she
mine?
was like, hi Adele.
They do it. Adele?
Adele.
Adele. Again, not terribly clear, but it's Adele, not Adele. A long A on the second vowel, not a short E. So next time you say, hello, now you know how to say it correctly. Jason Nathanson, ABC News.
On Wall Street, the Dow ended down 146 points. 2:32 at KMJ. Right now, sunny, 56 at Radio City. Fox 26's Justin Willis has more of our Thursday forecast.
Dealing with temperatures 12 to 14 degrees below normal, which is usually 71 in Fresno. Afternoon high today, 57, and cold enough for a frost advisory along the western hills with a freeze warning in Paso Robles. Overnight temps as low as 28 there. Done with the rain for now. Next chance comes Sunday with rain expected through next Wednesday. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Liz Kern, News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Thanks, Liz. And tonight, a portion of Highway 99 will again be closed during the night. And it's going to be happening for the next couple of weeks. Highway 99 will be closed from 9 p.m. tonight to 5 a.m. They're doing some bridge construction on the Veterans Boulevard in Northwest Fresno. So construction crews will have some special setups tonight to get you in and around that area. And they've got, they'll begin to divert to new on and off ramps near the closure site. That'll be going on tonight. Last night it didn't happen because there was rain, but tonight it will definitely be there. Next update, 2:47. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Cal Recycle. Californians are recycling smarter to fight climate pollution. Join the food fight by recycling food scraps in the food and yard waste bin. For more recycling tips, go to iRecycleSmart.com. Do your part. Recycle smart.
Hi folks, Roger Evans here with a few thoughts about Jack Hanna. More than our spokesman, Jack was a Christian. Enthusiastic, kind, quick to help or advise, and he filled a void when we lost Dale. When he said he was riding for the Evans brand, he meant it. So we will strive to honor his legacy and keep running Evans Feed the same way that made Jack proud to represent us. Big boots to fill. Pretty sure he and Dale are singing the jingle together right now. This is Roger Evans for all of us at Evans Feed in Madera, Chowchilla, and Porterville.
I was thinking back to some of those growing up years, and even though we've been doing this for 40 years, those first years we struggled with things like getting work, paying the bills.
A message from Jerry at All Britain Heating and Air.
But there was another struggle. We also struggled with who we were going to be as a company. What would define us? I remember one of those defining moments pretty clearly. We were new in business, and a customer called in that one of our staff didn't want to talk to and told our customer service rep, take a message, tell them I'm not here. And I thought, is this who we are? That moment really started us down a road to define what for us is honesty and integrity. Do we want to be all in? Today we think about integrity as what we do in the corner of an attic that we know the customer will never see. That's being in 100%. I'm glad that we did.
That's All Britain Heating and Air.
This is a tough time for Fresno County. Families, children, students, everyone is suffering. We can't afford gas, we can't afford food, and we can't afford more taxes. That's why we need to vote no on Measure C. Measure C is a bad deal, crafted behind closed doors by politicians. It'll only get worse. A $7 billion tax we'll pay for the next 30 years. Vote no on Measure C. We can't afford it. Ad paid for by No on Measure C 2022.
This report is sponsored by Goal Zero. Goal Zero, the leader in affordable home backup systems and solar generators. During a blackout, they can power your fridge, freezer, lights, Wi-Fi, TV, and more with clean power. Learn more at goalzero.com.
If you are eligible, open enrollment is now available and only takes a few moments to sign up. Sante Physicians is here for all of your Medicare needs. Sante Physicians, the best doctors, the best choice.
It's the Afternoon Drive with Philip and Skip on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
They're not afraid to be them.
100 years of KMJ. Now more with Skip and Philip.
Rolling up on 2:40 on the Thursday edition of the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. That's Skip Echeverria. I'm Philip Teresi. And joining us from a busy campaign out on the road, Lan Hee-Chen. Welcome back to KMJ, sir. Good afternoon.
Great to be with you, Philip. Thank you.
So you are, I have to say that there is an interesting mark of distinction that I picked up on while I was getting ready to talk to you today. The Associated Press did their What to Expect on Election Night in California rundown, And of all of the statewide races, they said that the Republicans' best chance to win their first statewide election since 2006 is Lanhee Chen, a former policy advisor to Mitt Romney's presidential campaign, who is running for controller. You are the only Republican the AP has given any chance. Is that rewarding to hear that?
Well, I think it reflects the fact that we have a campaign that's not about ideology and it's not about party. It's about competence, which unfortunately we have too little of in Sacramento. The controller is really the person that ensures we have accountability for taxpayer dollars, that we're spending them wisely and that we're solving problems. And I'm not sure either's going on right now. So I think the reason why the campaign is resonating is because people say, hey, I'd love to know more about how my tax dollars are being spent. And I think regardless of whether those voters are independents or Democrats or Republicans, they're saying, yeah, we'd love to know more. And we think Lanhee Chen's the guy to get us there.
So we know that you were involved with Mitt Romney, but tell us a little bit more about your background and what makes you qualified for California controller.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Southern California. My parents are immigrants from Taiwan. They came to the U.S. in the 1970s, and I moved to Southern California in the 1980s, and had a pretty typical upbringing, suburban lifestyle there, about 25 miles east of L.A., and went to my local public high school, and then was fortunate enough to go on to Harvard and got 4 degrees from Harvard, including my law degree and a PhD, and then I went on into working in public policy for folks like Mitt Romney and President Bush, but was also appointed by Barack Obama to his administration to work on Social Security issues. So I'm one of the rare people that served both a Republican and a Democratic president. And then after that was all done, my wife and I moved back to Northern California. We live in the Bay Area now, and I've been teaching at Stanford University. I'm a fellow at a place called the Hoover Institution, which is a think tank on campus at Stanford. And I'm also a small business owner and been involved in a number of business pursuits in Northern California. So I think what makes me qualified, what makes me uniquely qualified in my view for this job is I'm one of the few people that brings experience in not only policy, understanding the economic issues we face, but also in business and in academics, and being able to actually look at our state's condition and be able to provide that kind of accountability for taxpayers that's been lacking for too long.
Well, one of the repeating themes that I have seen in your campaign and in your social media presence and in your interviews is transparency, 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 putting daylight on how the state of California spends money. How much of putting that daylight on how California spends money is about possibly causing some sort of political shift due to exposure, and how much of it is about arming the voter and the taxpayer with what they need to know to make those decisions in the next cycle?
I think if there is going to be a shift, it's going to happen because it's what taxpayers want. It's not going to be because of anything I specifically do in the office. I think the biggest goal that I have is to make sure that taxpayers understand where the money is going. And right now, I mean, it sounds very simple, but right now it's not happening. It's staggering to me how little we know about where the money goes. I'll give you one concrete example. California is the only state right now that does not have complete, what I call line-by-line transparency into how state funds are spent. So if you think about your family's checkbook or your business's checkbook, you can see, hey, where am I writing checks? Are those checks clearing? We're the only state where taxpayers don't have access to that information. And that's unacceptable in my view. So one of the things I want to do as controller is publicize all that spending. Make sure everybody can see exactly where the money is going, get access to it. And then if they want to make changes because the spending is not effective at solving problems, then public pressure is what's going to lead to that. I, as controller, cannot single-handedly change those things. And I want to be realistic with people. I think politicians promise too much, and a lot of times they don't deliver. What I'm saying is let's get the information out to people. Let's get people in a position where they can advocate for change and do it intelligently, and that's what the controller can do starting on day one.
One of the big things that we saw with the pandemic was this huge uptick in fraud, particularly related to some of the funds coming in federally. But that, I think, has been really highlighted here. How could you, if you were elected, actually push for some of that auditing, or would you need Democrats on your side?
Well, no, the controller can audit without anyone's permission, which is kind of the great part of the job. And, on this unemployment insurance fraud. I mean, this thing is a fiasco of record proportions. I want listeners to understand that $30 billion of our money, $30 billion, was taken and sent to fraudsters in Russia, in China, in state prison. Even Scott Peterson, famously on death row, got unemployment insurance benefits. And all of this happened right under our noses. $30 billion would pay for our gas taxes in the entire state of California for 3 whole years. That's how much money we're talking about. And this money went out the door because nobody was really paying attention to where the money was going. Nobody was saying, hey, maybe if somebody applies for benefits from state prison, we don't send them there. Basic common sense things that we can stop from happening again. And as controller, yes, it's about auditing the past so that we understand what happened, but it's more than that. It's about staying on top of people so that they make the changes we need to make so that this never happens again. This fraud was the most preventable fraud in American history. 10 years ago, we knew the unemployment insurance system in California was broken. But nobody in Sacramento, from governors to legislators to anybody else in state government, nobody did anything to solve the problem. That's unacceptable. And when I'm controller, that's going to stop because we're going to keep on these people and make sure they actually fix this program once and for all.
We're talking to Lan He-Chen. He is the Republican candidate for the controller of the state of California this year. And you can find his website, chenforcalifornia.com, if you want to follow up and read up on any of this. Lan, in looking forward and in improving transparency, but also in improving the spending habits of the government and the effectiveness in detecting and preventing fraud, how much does technology play a role in your mind versus good old-fashioned double entry accounting and ledgers?
Yeah. Well, I do think the basic blocking and tackling is important, Philip, but the technology is huge. It's really huge because I want people to understand how backwards and behind the state of California is. We are literally, some of our back-end systems for unemployment insurance is a good example, are built on a programming language called COBOL. And if your listeners aren't familiar with COBOL, it's a programming language from the 1970s, and our biggest problem is that no one knows how to program in COBOL anymore. And so what you have is you have a back-end system that is built on an outdated platform. Now, this is happening in California. We're the most innovative economy, the birthplace of Silicon Valley and of incredible innovation and technology. We can't even get our own state systems updated so that we're not running 1970s era technology. In my view, we do have to upgrade the entire back-end system for so many of these programs. And it's not sexy work, right? This is not stuff that people look at and say, oh, gosh, I'm going to wake up in the morning really excited about systems upgrades. But I'll tell you, that's what the controller needs to do. You gotta get in there and you've got to really battle to make sure that we have the best technology we can, the most current technology we can. Why aren't we applying artificial intelligence and machine learning on this EDD problem we just talked about with unemployment insurance? Why didn't we develop, I mean, this technology is available, an algorithm that could have gone through and identified some of the fraud before the checks went out the door? The fact that we don't have that technology is shameful for a state like California. So I do think part of it is just, basic blocking and tackling. I actually think the controller's office does a pretty good job of the basic blocking and tackling now. I think the challenge we have is that nobody is fighting for better technology and better systems, and that's going to be a big part of what I do.
So let's say that next week you win, you get installed in the position. How long would you anticipate it would take to start to see some of those changes? Because you were honest that it's not going to be an overnight thing. I mean, is one term going to be enough?
Well, I think we can make a lot of impact within the first couple months, and we can get a lot of these projects underway. For example, the project I mentioned, bringing transparency to our state finances, that's a project I think we can get done during my first term. That's something that I think we can accomplish. And I think a lot of it is about political will. A lot of it's about creativity. The audits, right? That's something else the controller can do, is audit every single program of state government. We're going to initiate a lot of those audits, again, starting my first week in office. I mean, the minute we get declared the winner and it's official, we're going to go into a transition process, and I'm going to start mapping out for the people of the state, here are the exact audits this office plans to conduct in the next 30, 60, 90 days, and publicize all that information. And you know what? I want people to hold me accountable. If they vote for me, I want them to hold me accountable and say, hey, Lonnie, you said you were going to do this audit. Show us the update. What's the progress? And we're going to stay in touch with people closely. And I believe that if we are demanding the state be accountable, my office has to be accountable too. And that's going to be a big part of what I think will help restore people's trust in Sacramento.
Lonnie, we are out of time for today, but I appreciate you making time for us. And I wish you luck on Tuesday, sir. I look forward to hearing good news.
Thank you. Get out and vote, please.
Thank you.
That is Lanhee Chen. He is the Republican candidate for controller for the state of California. His website is chenforcalifornia.com, and he is the only Republican acknowledged by name by the Associated Press running for statewide office in these midterm elections. Not even the guy running against Newsom got mentioned by name.
So if you have those ballots at your house, make sure that you get those dropped in the mail or at one of the drop boxes. But Election Day is Tuesday.
Oh, my God, it's coming quick. When we get back, a little more shenanigans in the South Valley. Holy smokes. Aunt Nancy's spending a lot of money to try and make sure that David Valadeo doesn't keep his job. We'll talk about the latest scheme on the Afternoon Drive on KMJ.
Got a problem in Coalinga right now on State Route 269 at Lassen Avenue. There is an injury accident and some road blockage being reported at that location. The freeways in Fresno and Clovis up to the speed limit and moving along just fine. Let's hope they stay that way. Next update, 3:03. Greg Lane, KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by the California Department of Public Health. Need a refresher on COVID-19 safety? Mask up in public indoor settings, test, stay home when feeling sick, and get vaccinated and boosted to keep your immunity strong. Learn more at covid19.ca.gov.
Hi, it's Al Smith, here to tell you why I support Measure E to take Fresno State from good to great. First, it's a small price to pay, just a penny on a $5 purchase. Second, tough accountability and citizen oversight, just like Measure Z, which turned our Chaffee Zoo into a world-class facility. Third, Fresno State is one of our most important economic engines and is stuck in neutral because the state simply does not provide enough. Measure E will allow Fresno State to triple the number of nurses it graduates and expand engineering, agriculture, and public safety degrees. Measure E is an exceptional return on investment for our future and our children. Let's take Fresno State from good to great. Please join me, Al Smith, and vote yes on Measure E.
Ad paid for by Yes on Measure E. Good to Great for Fresno State 2022. Committee major funding from Richard F. Spencer and affiliates.
This is Sheriff Margaret Mims. Please vote to elect Diane Pierce to the Clovis City Council. I'm endorsing Diane because of her no-nonsense support of public safety. Diane understands the primary role of local government is for the safety of our citizens. Her commitment to law enforcement will keep schools, businesses, and neighborhoods safe. That is why Clovis business owners, Assemblyman Jim Patterson, Supervisor Nathan Magsig, and me, Sheriff Margaret Mims, are supporting Diane Pierce for Clovis City Council. Thank you.
This is Supervisor Nathan Magsig. I'm supporting Diane Pierce for Clovis City Council. Diane is a small business owner and community volunteer. Her core values of community, family, and safety, and her ability to work with others will help advance our city council while protecting our Clovis way of life. I know Diane, and she will make a great council member. Please join me, Supervisor Nathan Magsig, and vote Diane Pierce for Clovis City Council.
Paid for by Diane Pierce for Clovis City Council 2022.
Okay, smile naturally. Perfect.
Cam's Photography knows wedding season ramps up in a flash. They need to say I do to a studio assistant before clients go full bridezilla.
I'm so sorry. I have to get a different lens. I'll be right back.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
O'Reilly. See better and drive safer with Rain-X Advantage wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, purchase a pair of Rain-X Advantage wiper blades and get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate, plus 2 times O Rewards points. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades for free. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Tired of those traditional, fragmented agricultural trade shows? Well, join us at The Network, agriculture's exclusive one-day mixer and fundraiser event at the Fresno Fairgrounds this year, November 12th. It's an evening of great food, incredible entertainment by Granger Smith and other country stars, as well as industry discussions with leaders from all sectors of ag, shedding light on important topics you're going to want to hear. Proceeds benefit the ag building at the Fresno Fairgrounds and the family-owned and operated foundation. Seating's limited. Reserve your spot today at thenetwork2022.com.
Real, honest conversation. News Talk 580, 1059, KMJ.
It's the afternoon drive on KMJ. Thank you again to candidate for California Controller Lanhee Chen. If you missed that, podcast will be up at KMJnow.com. Speaking of politics, man, you open your mailbox, it is going to be stuffed with mailers that will then go immediately into my recycling bin.
I wish they would stop doing the glossy mailers and send them out on pulp.
Okay.
Burns better.
Oh, okay. That would, because I don't have a newspaper anymore to do that kind of stuff.
Exactly. If you're going to use the chimney on the barbecue, if you're going to do the little wood burning, what do they call those things?
Fire pit.
Thank you. I know there's a fancy name like brazier or something like that, but
and if you want to go like eco-conscious, that would be the way to go, right? To stop putting the glossiness on it. Well, you might, if you are in the district where the hotly contested,
22nd.
Okay. I was like, sometimes Philip waves his fingers at me. I'm like, which one are you waving? The 22nd district. This is Valadeo, the incumbent, versus Rudy Salas.
Yeah.
You might have a mailer in your box that is, interesting.
Yeah, mailers paid for by the VPP, formerly the Voter Protection Project, a PAC controlled by Andrew Jans, who, of course, is the former Democratic congressional contender who tried to unseat Devin Nunes and then ran for mayor of the city of Fresno, who is still taking money from Aunt Nancy to run the PAC. They sent out a mailer that says that David Valadeo betrayed President Trump and kept our borders open.
It also accuses Valadeo of standing with, quote, radical Democrats' immigration bill by supporting the American Dream and Promise Act. Now, the problem with this is that it was actually a good choice to do those things, but they're trying to tap into that super righty, like,
They want MAGA Republicans.
Okay.
What they're trying to do is they're trying to depress Republican turnout for David Valadeo, because they can't talk about all the good stuff Rudy Salas does. He still can't answer an honest question about whether or not he understood that he was breaking campaign rules by reusing assembly signs for his congressional campaign launch, and hasn't actually ever seriously addressed the fact that he was lying about his age on dating apps. So instead, we'll attack David for exactly the kinds of votes that make him attractive to the Democratic voters of the region and try to keep Republicans from turning out in his favor.
So Valadeo was a part of a bill that was proposed to the House, which was received unanimous support, but never passed the Senate because, again, California can't get the support of other states to actually handle immigration. This hurts my heart that somebody would send this out and think that there was a population that would go against our dreamers, but I know that they're out there.
You know what it tells me?
What?
Nancy Pelosi still doesn't understand that Valley Republicans, people whose jobs depend on ag, want better treatment for immigrants.
It does speak to a bit of a disconnect.
Yeah, do I really have to say it?
Just put your name on, like, put who's paid for by blah, blah, blah. Don't hide it.
Tuesday is coming. Don't take the bait from Nancy Pelosi. Don't take the bait from the VPP. You got a choice between a guy who lies about his age to women and a guy who has been able to work across the aisle in a tough district that the Republicans, frankly, need to hang on to if they've got a snowball's chance in hell of taking control of the House.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJnow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Do you own an agricultural business and want to grow and make more money? Then it's time to become an affiliate or a preferred vendor of the Ag Center today. Don York, KMJ Ag Director. You can join agriculture's one and only lead generation and networking platform. Be among other exclusive agricultural businesses offering products, services, consulting, and ag tech to farmers of all sizes. Contact the Ag Center today at theagcenter.com.
Citizens of Madera voted to break away from Fresno County. Now the Fresno politicians want to Fresno our Madera. There is one person that can stop the Fresno politicians. That person, Andy Wheeler. Andy Wheeler's lived in District 1 for over 24 years where he raised his family. And he's a financial advisor, so when it comes to budgets, there's no one better to watch over our tax dollars. He's a school board member and used real science to get our kids back in school. Andy's experience has earned him the endorsements of every Madera County public safety organization, including our own Madera County Sheriff, Tyson Pogue. Sheriff Pogue says, I'm supporting Andy Wheeler for supervisor in District 1. His professionalism and dedication to the community is second to none. Join Sheriff Pogue, the Madera Deputy Sheriff's Association, the Madera Police Officers Association, and the Madera County Firefighters Local 2881, and vote for Andy Wheeler for supervisor.
Paid for by Andy Wheeler for Madera County Supervisor, District 1, 2022.
Hi, I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Ben. Choosing the best mattress can be difficult, but one company has made it easy, Clovis Mattress. We've created a simple lineup of mattresses to suit all budgets and, more importantly, all sleeping styles.
But the best part is, all our mattresses are made right here in the Central Valley. We still use traditional techniques and the finest materials. But now, every mattress we sell directly benefits the local community.
But that's not the only difference. At Clovis Mattress, we are open by appointment only. Why? Because we want every customer to get the royal treatment so we can guide you through our amazing collection with no hard sell, no distractions, just the right information to help you find your perfect mattress.
So call Clovis Mattress today, 559-500-2222, or visit clovismattress.com. Again, that's clovismattress.com to book your appointment and secure free delivery from now until January 2023.
Buy local, support local at Clovis Mattress.
Sometimes the grass really is greener when you live on the green. Hi, I'm Gary McDonald, and our highly anticipated gated community at Clubview is finally here. Located along the first hole of the beautiful Copper River Country Club, these lots have some of the best views of the course and iconic clubhouse, with new plans and elevations to fit your lifestyle. You can be near it all, but far from ordinary.
Visit our website or call Brian Hurdle at 559-307-1761 for more information. Gary McDonald Homes, California Contractors License Number 847905.
News Talk, 580 AM, 105.9 FM, KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station. KMJ.
It's 3 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. A reward is increasing to $25,000 to find and arrest the person who murdered a Fresno mother and her baby in southwest Fresno. KMJ's Liz Kern reports new details in the killing.
On September 24th, Fresno police were called to a home on South Fruit Avenue near Jensen just before 7:30 that Saturday morning. Officers found 18-year-old Yaneli Solorio Rivera and her 3-week-old baby girl, Celine. Both were shot and killed. Fresno Police Chief Paco Balderrama says Yaneli was holding her baby at the time. This double killing, he says, is now the number one priority for homicide detectives.
We have to solve this crime. We have to bring justice to the victims in this case.
Officers spoke with witnesses and collected evidence and surveillance video from the scene. The reward now $25,000 for tips leading to an arrest of the killer. Call Valley Crime Stoppers at 498-STOP with any leads. Liz Kern, KMJ News.
Madera County Sheriff's Department officials announced the largest drug seizure in the history of the county. Authorities said yesterday they arrested nearly 30 people after a months-long operation linked to the Mexican cartel. All suspects charged and are being held on bail for up to $10 million. New hope in the fight against breast cancer. University of Washington School of Medicine in Seattle published research today suggesting a vaccine could be used to prevent or treat aggressive forms of cancer, including metastatic breast cancer. There are no FDA-approved breast cancer vaccines. ABC's Michelle Franson has the details.
An experimental breast cancer vaccine is showing promise. Researchers in Seattle say in phase 1 of the study, the vaccine produced a strong and safe immune response to a protein found in cancerous tumors. Dr. Nora Desis is a professor at the University of Washington School of Medicine.
Most of the side effects were extremely mild, and we had no serious side effects related to vaccination.
Researchers say the next phase will measure if the vaccine is effective. Breast cancer is the second leading cause of death in women. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Fresno City Council members hoping to pass a new housing initiative today. It would help families become first-time homeowners. City officials said the No Place Like Home initiative is a 4-part plan that would help middle-class families and the homeless population get permanent housing. The plan starts with the Fresno Down Payment Assistance Program. Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Done with the rain for now. Next chance comes Sunday with rain expected through next Wednesday. But now we're dealing with temperatures 12 to 14 degrees below normal, which is usually 71 in Fresno. Afternoon high today, 57. And cold enough for a frost advisory along the western hills with a freeze warning in Paso Robles. Overnight temps as low as 28 there. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
Thank you, Jim. In Los Banos on West Jensen at South Lyon Avenue. Got a 9-injury accident to report there. But here's some really great news. What a difference a day makes. Because between here at Fresno and 99 all the way down Bakersfield, no accidents. 41, no accidents. 168, the same. And all the way through Madera, it's accident-free. So let's keep it that way. Next update, 317. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
KMJ's Afternoon Drive at 490-5858.
And toll free at 800-776-5858.
Day in and day out, you so articulately and with such great discernment reveal and expose what's going on. I see it clearly.
We're sorry.
It's the Valley's Afternoon Drive on KMJ. Now, Philip and Skip.
3:05 on your afternoon drive. It's Skip Echeverria and Philip Teresi at News Talk 580 and 1059 KMJ. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks again to Lan Hee Chen for joining us last hour. He is the Republican candidate for controller, state-level office, only one to get acknowledged by name by the Associated Press this morning. Check him out at chenforcontroller.com. And if you missed the interview, we will have it up in the podcast section at kmjnow.com a little bit later on. If you want to get ahead of folks on that, of course, you can always subscribe to the podcast by going to wherever you listen to podcasts and searching for KMJ's Afternoon Drive. Another day, another Bill McEwen headline that caught my eye. This one asking if Fresno politicians are treating Measure P like a slush fund. And that actually led over to, I was not aware of this site, the Monroe Review. This is where Donald Monroe, formerly of the Bee, went to. And his focus is on the arts and travel and theater. I think it's fantastic. And one of the folks who, I don't know if he's working for him or if he's just a special contributor, Doug Hoagland, did a deep dive on Measure P. And guess what, everybody?
He didn't get very far?
Oh, no. He spent 3 months digging on what's going on with Measure P. He got plenty far. The problem is you're probably not going to like the answer whether you voted yes or no.
Yeah. Well, I guess I should have clarified. He didn't get very far with getting it straight from the source, as he states that he ran into mostly a wall of silence from city council members.
Yeah.
But we were wondering, just a good jumping off point, where'd all the money come from for the Tower Theater?
Mm-hmm.
That counts as arts. Does it? Does it not? No.
Were we going to spend all the Measure P money on one thing?
Measure P was supposed to generate $75 million to spend on parks, recreation, and cultural arts. Mm-hmm. This fiscal year alone.
So, is Tower Theater a cultural touchstone or is it a community facility? Because there is a difference.
Okay.
If it's a community facility, when it gets hot outside, they'll open it up so people without air conditioning can go cool off at the Tower Theater.
That's a really big kind of like
That's one
piece
of
of it.
That's one of the things Parks does.
Okay, yeah.
If it is a cultural destination and a venue to be used for exhibitions and films and all of that, you're probably not going to operate it as a cooling center, which means it's not going to be just open to the public any old time. And so it doesn't really fit with what the committee formed by Measure P thought that they were supposed to be doing with Measure P, which was more of an everyday amenities for everybody.
So we have an optimistic view that comes from us, from former Mayor Swearingen, who helped write the measure. Her take is that the measure has some growing pains, but the city council and commission will work through them. In the meantime, everyone should focus on delivering better parks and a robust cultural scene to the city. She did have one caveat that people are right to closely watch what's going on and ask questions. I keep hearing that all the time, like, ask questions. Let's get clarification. But then is there really follow through on that?
Here's my question. It was Measure P because it was supposed to be about parks. We heard all about green space and how important green space and open space and amenities for the community were going to be. I love the Tower Theater. And I think that it would have been a mistake to rezone the Tower Theater to accommodate a church. Not that I think that a church renting Tower Theater and going in on Sunday mornings does any harm, but if you rezone Tower Theater for a church, you've upended what the Tower District is and is about. The Tower Theater is not a park, and it's not the Mary Ella Brown Community Center. It's this beautiful Art Deco theater that absolutely has a cultural function in town. It's not a park.
Well, there's no going back on it.
Well, yeah.
Right. And at this point, because it is so kind of loose in its interpretation, the question is, I don't think you're going to get the money back for Tower Theater. I think that money is...
No.
That money is gone, right? But if we're talking about, according to this, $75 million a year to spend on parks, recreation, and cultural events, how do you make sure that moves forward? I know I think they're doing like a little park right there over by Fresno High, off of Echo or something. So we know that that's going on. I haven't seen any other big announcements.
So a less rosy view offered by an individual tied to the arts who didn't want to be named for fear of being at odds with those who hold the Measure P purse strings. The Monroe Review reports that this person watched the rollout of Measure P, was concerned that the city council could turn it into a slush fund for pet projects or to appease the noisiest of the constituents. And that may be exactly what happened when the city council, decided to use Measure P funds to buy the Tower Theater. So you had council members Soria and Arias, who had constituents losing their minds every weekend, protesting outside of the Tower Theater because they did not want Adventure Church buying it. They did not want Adventure Church demonstrating in front of it. They wanted Tower to stay weird and be Tower. So the squeaky wheel got the grease. We bought the Tower Theater. That way that whole rezone issue became moot.
I think that part of what we saw there too was really big personalities really loving the spotlight and using cultural hot button issues. I think that the problem with the way that the purchase went down was, and it was a 4-vote majority, right? There weren't the questions asked along the way. So we go back to what Swearingen says, pay attention, ask questions, all that kind of stuff. But there were the questions about why are we paying over market price?
Well, and there's all of that.
Yeah.
So there's a arts commission that's supposed to have a significant role in Measure P decision-making and allocations. 9 commission members, they meet publicly twice a month to get updates on projects, to hear from interested citizens. In April, the decision was made to buy the Tower Theater without any input from the people on the commission formed by Measure P.
Well, oh boy. That's not how that's supposed to work.
That's not what we were told. So here's my problem, is you've got new neighborhood parks money, because that was the big sell, right? We knew there would be
green space, and particularly like not Northeast Fresno where you have Woodward Park and all the parks.
We knew that this was going to be an equity thing, which is fine. I have no problem building parks for children in South and West Fresno. I think that's an okay thing to do. I think it was a bigger tax than it needed to be, and I think it's a longer running tax than it needed to be. But my heartlessness, my grunchiness only goes so far. I think that poor kids should have parks too. The Tower Theater is not a park. I love the Tower Theater. I am glad that the Tower Theater will continue to be an amenity for the people of Fresno. I think that some serious questions need to be asked about how it was that Adventure Church got promised a purchase in the first place when the theater was not zoned as a church. It's not a park. That's not what we were told was going to happen with this money. And yeah, I know there was going to be an arts element to it.
Yeah, because you're getting into the cultural arts, and sometimes when these things are written, that's when, I get the frustration over, okay, why are we trying to shove so much stuff in? The thing that's frustrating about this is, one, from the reporting, it took forever to get any answers. Mm-hmm. And we want to talk about transparency. We just got done talking about that with the Republican candidate for controller, right? And looking at the numbers. So the transparency piece of it, and if the way it was lined out was that you're supposed to have this board that's a part of it, where's the explanation for it getting skipped over? Because that's not how businesses would run.
Well, and that's where you've got the commission being willing to talk about this, but not really having any answers. And the city council, having made the decision without consulting the commission in any way, refusing to talk to anybody.
And the offer on Tower Theater was made between two council, with like the input of two council members, if I remember correctly. And there wasn't a realtor involved or so in the price. Do you remember that? Like in the negotiation of the price?
The specifics escape me, but what you're saying seems completely reasonable in the context of the rest of this debacle. So again, the reporting here from Monroe Review, the commission had no say in the purchase of the Tower Theater, even though Measure P lays out the commission's creation and role under the heading Fiscal Oversight and Budget Accountability.
Now, how this ties into what you're looking at on Tuesday. Monroe ends this article by talking about how there's going to be two new measures to bump up sales tax. One is for veteran services and facilities, the other for academic programs and sports facilities. Mm-hmm. We've heard arguments on both sides of that right here on the air with several of our guests. Mm-hmm. So, looking at how you've seen Measure P kind of get rolled out, asking yourself about the oversight that's going to be in these.
Yeah. And so ultimately what we come to is Doug Hoagland, writing for the Monroe Review, cements my biggest problems with Measure M and Measure E. We cannot trust the politicians in this region to do what they say they're going to do if we don't have ironclad control over how that money is allocated from the ballot measure itself. Again, I go back to Measure Z, the money for the zoo. It is our region's most perfect example of voluntarily self-imposed self-taxation going to exactly the purposes that were promised. And if you guys didn't know this, part of that's because you had guys like Jim Patterson and Ray Appleton involved in the creation of the language of Measure Z.
I did not know that.
This city council is going to continue to frustrate and disappoint me. I know this for a fact. And I don't know if the people of the city of Fresno really understand how frequently and how easily they're getting screwed by the people that they elected to represent them and protect their interests. How many pocket parks could you have built for the money that we're going to spend on Tower Theater?
Well, a lot of them. See, I'm torn on the Tower Theater. Tower Theater is settled. There were a lot of things that I think needed to be cleared up about that before we got to where we were, but I also don't think it just becomes like a church. So anyway, you could do a lot with that money to put more green space in. I also think that cultural activities do include some things that are indoors as well. Sure. So you have the arguments for that. But I mean, just looking at the fact that if it is open to the public, then it's open to the public.
They didn't talk to the commission before they spent the money, and now they won't talk to a reporter asking them to explain why.
Well, it's because this is the parental favorite because I said so.
They work for us, and they lied. They took money that was supposed to be for one thing. They did what they wanted with it to appease a handful of noisy constituents. The majority of the city was not on board with this plan, and now they don't want to speak to it. They don't want to be held accountable for it. It's a remarkable thing. We'll share the link to the Monroe Review so you can read the entire article. I'm not doing Doug half the justice he deserves. He did a great job writing this thing up. And it is a little bit of a read because it is a saga.
Yeah, coming up, we'll talk about a first responders memorial that is unveiled for police, firefighters, and other frontline responders.
One problem in Los Banos that's causing a lot of delay is on West Jensen at South Lyon Avenue. Got a non-injury accident there. If you're thinking about running errands, this is the time to do it. There are no accidents being reported in Fresno Clovis area right now, so that's a good thing. Get out and get your errands run. Next update, 3:33. I'm Greg Lane. KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Temperatures getting low, but demand remaining high? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Oh, don't you know? Just a few teaspoons of your O-negative blood can save the lives of premature babies and your family or friends. Find out if you're O-negative by donating now at the Central California Blood Center. Go to donateblood.org.
KMJ is proud to welcome the Trans-Siberian Orchestra Winter Tour, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, to the Safe Mart Center Thursday night, December 1st, 7:30 p.m. Listen to The Ray Appleton Show all this week for your shot to call in and win tickets to the show and get qualified for the grand prize drawing, an autographed Trans-Siberian Orchestra guitar and merchandise pack. You won't want to miss one of the most popular groups in the modern era, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Click on the events tab at kmjnow.com.
Oh, now you know. The Central California Blood Center needs not just O-negative blood, but all blood, even if you don't know your type. Every single donation has the potential of saving multiple lives, including family and friends. Go to donateblood.org now.
Clovis isn't just a city. It's a community that brings people and families together. I'm Kyle Cheney. As a father, husband, and realtor, I know that all too well. Everyone seeking to move to our city wants a piece of the Clovis way of life. I'm running for Clovis City Council to preserve the Clovis way of life and strengthen our city moving forward. As your councilman, I'll fight to keep our community safe and responsive by strengthening our police department so we have a minimum of one officer per 1,000 residents. I believe that no neighborhood should be left behind. That's why it's my mission to improve aging, cracked streets, and sidewalks in our older neighborhoods and build a stronger Clovis as we grow. I'll deliver solutions to get homelessness off our streets and bring local control back from Sacramento. I'm Kyle Cheney. I'm not just fighting for the Clovis way of life, I'm fighting for you. Paid for by Kyle Cheney for Clovis City Council 2022.
Attention. Per the current government mandate, U.S.-based insurers are now required to cover at-home COVID testing kits with no out-of-pocket fees to you. If you have a current insurance plan, you are eligible to receive up to 8 COVID-19 tests shipped to you each month absolutely free, as long as the government mandate is in effect. Just visit testkitforfree.com to register now from the comfort of your own home. That's testkitforfree.com to receive your tests shipped to you at no cost. Go to testkitforfree.com today. Paid for by T Euro Health.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458. 800-481-1458 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
Hi folks, Roger Evans here with a few thoughts about Jack Hanna. More than our spokesman, Jack was a Christian. Enthusiastic, kind, quick to help or advise, and he filled a void when we lost Dale. When he said he was riding for the Evans brand, he meant it. So we will strive to honor his legacy and keep running Evans Feed the same way that made Jack proud to represent us. Big boots to fill. Pretty sure he and Dale are singing the jingle together right now. This is Roger Evans for all of us at Evans Feed in Madera, Chowchilla, and Porterville.
Madera County's mountain communities need principled and experienced leadership. That's why we need to elect Bobby McCauley as our Madera County Supervisor in District 5. Bobby is endorsed by Sheriff Tyson Pogue and District Attorney Sally Marino, and is a third-generation resident of our mountain communities. Bobby McCauley will prioritize public safety, forest management, our small businesses, and water for our farmers. Vote Bobby McCauley for Supervisor on November 8th.
Paid for by the Friends of Robert McCauley for Supervisor 2022.
Time's running short, so get your tickets now to The Network, the Valley's first agriculture mixer and fundraiser for everyone in the ag industry to come together and unify as one. The biggest companies and ag leaders will be on hand for an afternoon and evening of networking, great food, and entertainment. Join us November 12th at the Fresno Convention Center for an unforgettable event. Proceeds benefit the family-owned and operated foundation and for renovations of the ag building at the Fresno Fairgrounds. For tickets, go to thenetwork2022.com. That's thenetwork2022.com.
Midterm election coverage and analysis on KMJ. Now, more with Philip and Skip.
It's the afternoon drive. That's Philip. I'm Skip. Okay, I have to go back to this Measure P thing and the oversight stuff and accountability, because I feel like we've had some guests on in the last couple of days that have really talked about not passing certain measures, including M and E, because there's not enough oversight.
Yeah. Yeah. Just look, at this point, I know you can't talk to Measure E, and I understand, and I'm not. I only say that because I want to make it clear. Skip's not taking a position on Measure E because Skip is also employed by California State University, Fresno. So there's a conflict of interest, and it's not fair to put her or the school in a position to have that argument. I don't work for anybody but KMJ. I'm voting no on all three of these, C, E, and M. C, because we don't need to do it yet, and it's not right. E, because I'm a little bit concerned about how it's being promoted, and I'm a lot concerned, way more concerned about the lack of oversight. And M, because what was originally proposed is not what it has turned into, and again, that leads me to concerns about oversight on how the money is going to be spent. I want this stuff in stone. I want it line by line in the measure so that we don't have administrative bloat, so that we don't have a bunch of slush fundy discretionary spending. If I'm voting for money for roads, I want it to fix the damn roads. If I'm voting for money for Fresno State, I want it to improve the entire campus and to reduce the burden on students. If I'm voting for a new chair manufacturer, I want one that's not going to give Skip a trick chair. Are you okay?
I'm okay. I sometimes it just decides to move down, and then I feel like a child. But I was just thinking, thank goodness you're not running for office, because here's why. Because of those positions, here's how that would be turned into a mailer. Philip hates good roads. He wants everybody to get hit on bicycles. That's for C. Measure E, he hates Fresno State, and Measure M, he hates the veterans. That's how. I'm just kind of speculating on if you ever run. That's how it would be, right?
That's exactly how it would be painted, and nothing could be further from the truth. I want for our veterans to have the best services and amenities in the world. Measure M is not going to accomplish that. I want for California State University, Fresno, if we're going to put local money into that, if we're going to tax ourselves extra to make that campus all that it can possibly be, I want to make damn sure that it is spelled out exactly the way that it's going to be done. And if Mr. Spencer is the one, if his companies are the ones that pick up those contracts, fantastic. It's a local company. And on Measure C, I just, despite the fact that it is mostly liberals who are pushing back against it at this point, I have to say, we don't have to vote on it yet, and two, we can refine it to make sure that there is specificity to a greater degree than what we have currently. And whatever it is that you care about, that should matter to you.
Now let's put some warm and fuzzies in about how some funds here in the Valley get spent. And that includes a new memorial outside of Fresno City Hall for first responders. This was 5 years in the making, according to Fresno Fire Chief Carrie Donis. 5 years ago, they decided that our first responders deserve a memorial.
Yeah.
And so now we have a beautiful one out in front of City Hall.
The funding for the memorial was approved by the Fresno City Council just last year. And in a very reasonable amount of time, this memorial was put together, and it looks fantastic. And here we go again with local folks building the memorial. It's the folks out in Clovis.
Yeah, right now it includes
Bell Memorials.
It includes 30 names total, 17 officers and 13 firefighters. Our news partner KMPH Fox 26 has pictures from the unveiling, and it's beautiful. I wish we didn't ever need more room on it to add names.
Yeah.
But that's inevitable. So if you want to take a look at it, it does honor, as I said, 30 of these folks.
So a bronze police officer's cap and a bronze firefighter's helmet rest in front of a stone American flag hung vertically. It's a 14-foot wide memorial, and it's, of course, publicly accessible. It's right off P Street, just northwest of the City Hall building, right across from the Fresno Veterans Memorial Wall.
It looks like it was a beautiful turnout, too, for the folks that came out for it.
Yeah, Doris Marie Durney is the wife of former Fresno Fire Captain Oni Durney. He passed in 2018. She was able to take some close-up pictures of the memorial and her husband's inscription following the ceremony, and she says to come over and spend this time and see his name in the appreciation of the community. It has so much meaning.
I wish I could see what the inscription says on there, but I can't find it.
Just can't zoom in.
Can't zoom in enough. Mayor Dyer made a statement. This memorial is very personal and very real, not as the mayor, but as a former police officer. I've spent 40 years in law enforcement, and I've seen firsthand the dangers. That coming from Mayor Jerry Dyer.
And they did have an all-star cast out there, along with Mayor Dyer and Fire Chief Carrie Donis. Fresno Police Chief Paco Balderrama was there, of course, as well as City Council members Miguel Arias and Gary Bredefeld, who were the two who initiated the process of getting the wall placed where it is.
Oh, that's great teamwork. I like hearing it. Now, the names that are on this wall are it honors servicemen and women who lost their lives while on duty.
Yeah, the inscription reads, in memory of those who have fallen in the line of duty and in recognition of those who serve in the noble professions of police and fire services.
Well done to everyone involved.
Extremely well done. I hate that there will be names added to this in time, and I am glad that that our community is doing what it can to recognize the people who have put their lives on the line to allow us to live the way that we do in the city of Fresno and the county of Fresno. Okay, when we get back, something interesting going on up in Madera. A complaint from a resident about the way the cemetery handled the Day of the Dead. This surprised me a little bit coming from Madera.
Yeah, we'll jump into that and how the gates were locked.
Right now on Updated Headlines with Jim Miller.
KMJ News now.
It's 3:30 in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. Homicide detectives still looking for the suspects involved in the deaths of an 18-year-old and her infant daughter. Fresno police officials say they were warned for information on the suspects. Now, $25,000. Officers responded to a call September 24th about gunshots in a home and found Yaneli Solario Rivera and her infant daughter deceased. Police are continuing this investigation. First responders who lost their lives being honored in a ceremony outside Fresno City Hall. A memorial unveiled yesterday with the names of nearly 20 police officers and over 10 firefighters. Plans for the memorial were made by council members Gary Bradefeld and Miguel Arias. Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Done with the rain for now. Next chance comes Sunday with rain expected through next Wednesday. But now we're dealing with temperatures 12 to 14 degrees below normal, which is usually 71 in Fresno. Afternoon high today, 57, and cold enough for a frost advisory along the western hills with a freeze warning in Paso Robles. Overnight temps as low as 28 there. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
Thank you, Jim. In Lemoore right now, westbound 198, just west of Highway 41, a car fire and lots of road blockage. Happy to report the car fire has just now been put out, but there is a lot of congestion in that area, so watch for it if you're in and around westbound 198 at Highway 41. In Los Banos, West Jensen at South Lyons Avenue, tow trucks on the scene cleaning up that non-injury accident. Our next update is at 3:47. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag. Wendy's Biggie Bag is still just $5. Get a double stack junior bacon cheeseburger or crispy chicken BLT plus 4-piece nugs, small fries, and a small drink. Grab your bag at Wendy's today. Includes choice of double stack JBC or crispy chicken BLT with 4-piece nugs, small drink, and fries. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Buildings Unlimited will be celebrating 20 years serving Central California and the West Side. Buildings Unlimited, specializing in concrete tilt warehousing, cold storage, processing facilities, and commercial pre-engineered metal buildings. Buildings Unlimited is your single point of contact from design to the completion, proudly featuring new core steel, manufactured in the USA. Buildings Unlimited, where the only limit is your imagination. Call our experienced team for a free consultation at 559-485-9948 or visit us at buildingsunlimited.net.
Rudy Salas received $80,000 in free trips and gifts. One trip was tied to the Chinese Communist Party, financed by a group trying to influence politicians like Salas. Who's Salas working for? David Valadeo is pro-America. Valadeo pushed to stop China from buying American oil reserves. David Valadeo, fighting to cut gas prices. Paid for by Congressional Leadership Fund and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.congressionalleadershipfund.org. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. It's pro time because at Lowe's it's Provember. Over 30 days to save big. Full of more inventory, more Lowe's MVP's bonus points, and more of the deals you deserve. Because it always pays to be a pro at Lowe's. Save all Provember long.
It's Allbritton's complete furnace revitalization.
Makes your heater blow like it's young again for just $129. Online at allbriton.com.
It's the afternoon drive with Philip and Skip on News Talk 580 and 1059 KMJ.
It's a battle for free speech.
100 years of KMJ. Now more with Skip and Philip.
It's the afternoon drive with Philip Teresi and Skip Echeverria on KMJ. Glad you're here. 490-5858 is the number if you want to join us. 800-776-5858 on the toll-free side. Up to Madera we go, and our news partner Fox 26. And Myra Franco talking with a concerned citizen, Arcelia Rodriguez, a little upset that Madera's cemetery, the vehicle gates were locked, although the pedestrian gates were open over the weekend as families were trying to participate in the Day of the Dead celebration. She says the cemetery's never done this before.
Yeah, this is wild to me. So she was interviewed, she said families wanting to share an important traditional date with their loved ones at the cemetery and be able to practice the Dia de los Muertos traditions with the ofrendas and the flowers and the altars.
What is ofrendas?
These are like the altars, and then you put your offerings. The cemetery has closed the gates all morning, avoiding cars to come in, only pedestrians, which makes it difficult to carry tables, flowers, etc. So traditionally speaking, I mean, if you go to Arte Americas before they get rid of it, check it out. It's beautiful. When you celebrate this holiday, it is at cemeteries.
Yeah.
You decorate them. You make them beautiful. You bring the things that remind you of your loved one. You spend time out there. If you need an easy reference, watch Coco. I mean, like, that's what you're supposed to do. Well, that requires carrying things in. And apparently the problem was, according to the cemetery, in the past, people didn't carry things out with them. That's what they're saying.
Well, that's not all of it. Fox 26 News did reach out to the Madera Cemetery District's main office, and the representative they spoke with said that they only allowed walk-ins this year because of public safety issues. They say traffic congestion, parking issues, like you said, trash being left behind, public disturbances of loud music, and people drinking in the lot.
Yeah, that's a difficult part of it. The cemetery spokesman went on to say that they want to provide a respectful atmosphere inside the lot when people visit, and also keep in mind that in case of an emergency and you have a flood of cars trying to get out, what kind of hazard does that create? Which I understand, I get. But also at the same time, you look at these pictures, these cars are parked for stretches down whatever road this is, where the cemetery is at. And you see folks like trying to get in with their like walkers and stuff, and, you know, like county roads and a cemetery, and try and move around. That's...
So one of the other complaints was that apparently the sprinklers went on a little before 6 p.m.
Oh, man.
So there was a bummer. There was areas where people just couldn't get set up because it was so.
Yeah. Which I mean, I understand that, you know, accidents happen, they're on timers or whatnot, but also if you're going to be culturally sensitive and aware in a community where this is a thing, come on, Madera.
Yeah, well, I mean, what's Madera? 80% Hispanic? I mean, it's like this should be an easy win. I think that the cemetery district is justified in having closed the lot and having closed vehicular access. You get enough bad behavior, you get enough complaints, you get enough calls for service, and at a certain point you say, okay, enough's enough. And it's not the fault of good people trying to honor their loved ones. It's the fault of knuckleheads who want to get drunk and bump their stereos in the parking lot because they're forgetting they're not the only human beings on earth. There has to be a functional compromise. And maybe it even comes down to starting a fund, a citizen contributed to fund that allows for docents and a couple of golf carts with little trailers. So if you got somebody with a walker, you can drop them off at the gate. They can get a ride to where they need to be. If you got somebody who's trying to carry out stuff to because I understand that trying to do this right, trying to really put up a display, you're probably talking about, half a truck bed worth of stuff. So have those little trailers there to help people shuttle stuff back and forth.
So the idea about like kind of raising money, got it. But I'm sure that there's people in Madera that would pitch in and volunteer, right? You probably need like some sort of planning commission. But it doesn't have to be huge. I was thinking, every Veterans Day or Memorial Day, you see kids in different local groups. The schools do it, or the Boy Scouts do it, or whatnot, and they'll go and they'll lay wreaths, or they'll put flags out, or do that kind of thing, right? Get community service groups like that, youth groups that'll come out, and maybe they do help clean up. Like, hey guys, we're doing, their version of Beautify Fresno or whatever. We're going to come out and clean up. And then if you need to create like a schedule, if people do need to pull in and unload things, like you have load in, load out times.
Yeah.
Because it's beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful opportunity. And also, I don't think alcohol should be allowed. So I don't know if that's like checking stuff or kick them out. There's no need for that.
Is the solution close the lot and have manpower to help facilitate and transport people who aren't able? Or is the solution to have security of some sort on site to say, we're not doing booze, we're not doing loud music?
You might need both of those things.
You're not parking on the grave sites, just to manage a little bit of decorum. Because again, most of the people who want to go and celebrate this want to go and honor their loved ones. And it's a beautiful holiday. And if you're like me and you just kind of grew up without any cultural awareness of it, I know this is going to sound silly and minimizing, but honest to God, your perfect primer for this is the movie Coco.
It really is. And it was actually, I think, in part created to help make that something more mainstream in that understanding. But I think that there's definitely an opportunity to address the issues with safety and the mess and whatnot, but it's going to take some pre-planning. So the woman that spoke, Miss Rodriguez, that spoke about this disappointment, she says she's going to be addressing the Madera City Council board over the situation and talking specifically about elderly and family members who want to celebrate without a hassle. Awesome. Get together some volunteer folks to get things rolling so that next year this could actually become something where it could be an attraction for people to come and understand the holiday as well.
Should this be a function of the cemetery district as a branch of the local government, or because you are talking about a celebration that not everybody participates in, that not everybody observes or understands, should this be a responsibility of the people, financially speaking, of the people who want to go out and indulge in this?
I think I would go back to some of the other holidays where they maybe do stuff and see kind of where that funding comes from, maybe.
Well, I'm thinking of like Veterans Day, where it's all volunteers tied to veterans organizations going out and putting flags on graves.
So that's what I was thinking of comparing it to. I mean, you could look at the demographics of the cemetery to see, like, I'm pretty sure it makes sense to put some money in that direction, but the cemetery district is run by the city or county or whatever.
It's part of the municipal, yeah.
I think you could get enough people out there to help out for this. I mean, Madera's an amazing community with lots of cool people. Talk to the FFA groups. Talk to the 4-H groups. Get the churches involved.
Yeah, this more than anything, this to me feels like a great opportunity for some churches to get together and really do some community work.
Yeah, I mean, and there's several of them that are in that faith too, that are in that area. But I think Madera could figure it out with a little bit of come together spirit.
Yeah, I don't think that this is a big lift, especially for that community, because you're talking about families that are going to be all about this, and a couple of knuckleheads shouldn't ruin it for everyone else. Shifting from the Day of the Dead back to Halloween for a minute, it has been decades now, my entire life, been hearing about people adulterating candy.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from the stoners are going to give your kids stuff full of weed that was last year's panic, and this year, of course, it's been fentanyl. The story that I remember more than anything else was razor blades in the candy, razor blades in the apple. But it was an urban myth. It didn't happen.
Yes.
Well, thanks, Eugene, Oregon, multiple razor blades were found hidden in children's candy.
Yeah. As we jump into the Eugene, Oregon, I did want to say I haven't seen anything about rainbow fentanyl being given out to kids, right? So it was this like, hey, that big bad story didn't really happen. Well, this is being narrowed down as authorities work together to a suspect in a small neighborhood in Eugene, Oregon, about 110 miles south of Portland. Small razor blade like you'd find in a pencil sharpener found in candy.
Here's the thing. The police received a report of a small razor blade.
You think it's fake?
I think it's a hoax.
How did they find it? Are they saying
it was somebody called and complained. Somebody called the cops.
But I guess I would like to hear the whole story. Like, did you bite into it and it broke your mouth, or is this the finger in the Wendy's chili?
The initial reporting party lives in Eugene, of course. Mm-hmm. They said that they discovered that small razor blade after checking their child's candy prior to allowing them to consume it. Now, ABC News says 3 more similar reports were made to authorities that all happened in this little area around Tyler and Friendly Street in Eugene. So if there's multiple reports, then my likelihood of saying this is a hoax dives down. And in this case, it looks like they've got 4 reports.
Unless they all hate that neighbor. And it's a coordinated effort to kick him out.
They're trying to frame somebody.
Hey, I mean, if we're doing conspiracy theories, I hear those are famous or a popular thing. That's if they did this. I mean, now I feel bad. Like, I didn't check my kids' candy until I go in and steal a piece. How did you find it? I need to know. Where are the pictures? Where was it? What kind of candy was it in?
The only thing that I found in my kids' candy this year in terms of like stuff that worried me is there was a letter about my car's warranty stuffed inside of a Kit Kat bar.
In Reedley on East Manning and South Lackjack, we have reported defective traffic signals, so please treat that as a 4-way stop. In Madera, Highway 41 at Avenue 12, got a collision there and possible injuries being reported. A couple problems in Fresno, South Walnut at West North, a hit-and-run non-injury accident. On East Central as South Locan, disabled vehicle causing a hazard. Next update is 4:03. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by News Nation. Chris Cuomo is back with a new show on a new network. Catch Cuomo, weeknights on News Nation at 5 and 8 p.m. Pacific. To find News Nation on your television provider, go to newsnationnow.com/join us.
This is Assemblyman Jim Patterson. Our county supervisors are critical in protecting our communities from Sacramento's overreach. That's why we deserve good leaders with clear values committed to fighting for our community. For Madera County Supervisor, there's only one right choice: police officer and small businessman Jordan Wamhoff. As a career police officer, Jordan Wamhoff has a plan to stop the deadly crashes on Madera County's roads, make neighborhoods safer with a fully funded sheriff's department, and get homeless off the street. He's also the only candidate prepared to fight for our fair share of water and to stop devastating taxes that are putting Madera County's farmers out of business. But most importantly, Jordan Wamhoff will restore local control to Madera County, bringing the most important decisions to you, not Sacramento bureaucrats. Jordan Wamhoff is the conservative choice for supervisor and endorsed by the Madera County Republican Party. Madera County needs someone ready to fight. I hope you'll vote for Jordan Wamhoff for Madera County Supervisor.
Paid for by Jordan Wamhoff for Madera County Supervisor 2022.
Attention! If you've been classified as a high-risk driver due to DUI, DWI, or tickets for aggressive driving and are required to get expensive and hard-to-find SR22 auto insurance, then you must listen to this message because Serenity can help. We're the largest insurance company in the U.S., specializing in SR22 auto insurance and focused on serving the needs of customers classified by the state as high-risk drivers. We help people get back on their feet by providing easy-to-get, low-cost SR22 insurance that anyone can afford. If you need SR22 auto insurance, or if you have it now and are paying too much, you need to call us today for your free quote at 800-279-7816. Our specialists are standing by waiting for your call. We understand people make mistakes, and we're here to help by making SR22 insurance easy to get and affordable for everyone. The call and quote are free. Call us now at 800-279-7816. That's 800-279-7816. Again, 800-279-7816.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that comes with Security Edge, helping to protect all your connected devices, and the most reliable 5G mobile network. Want me to keep going? I can. Whether your small business is starting or growing, you need Comcast Business. Technology solutions that put you ahead and give you serious savings. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for just $49.99 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Offer ends 12/5/2022. Restrictions apply. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable based on RootMetrics US report. Results vary, not an endorsement.
One search engine is used by 9 out of 10 consumers. Hint, the name begins with a G. And there are hundreds of things that go into being ranked highly by that engine. Your website, your business profile, even your social accounts. A couple of slip-ups and you find yourself on page 7. But at Cumulus Boost, we have the experts and resources to fix what's wrong and boost your findability so you can rank higher than your competition. Get started today at cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS boost.com.
Aren't you tired of the Fresno Unified Circus? Week after week, our school board is throwing tantrums and shutting down meetings. Meanwhile, our kids are still failing to keep pace in math and reading after the pandemic shutdowns. Isn't it time for a change?
This is Susan Wittrop. I'm running for Fresno Unified School Board because our schools face serious challenges. We deserve someone committed to fixing the problems, not just pointing out the obvious. The Bullard area deserves a real representative, and I'm ready to fight for our fair share of resources, listen and work with parents and teachers, end Fresno Unified's culture of failure, and close the achievement gap. That's why I'm proud to have the support of hundreds of Bullard families, Sheriff Margaret Mims, Assemblyman Jim Patterson, and countless community leaders. On November 8th, cast your vote for Susan Wittrop for Fresno Unified School Board. Paid for by Susan Wittrop for Fresno Unified School Board 2022.
So you tested positive for COVID. What's next? Treat yourself. COVID treatments like Paxlovid are free. Taken by pill, these medications can stop the illness from getting serious. So treat yourself. Call a healthcare provider or the statewide COVID hotline at 833-422-4255 to find free treatment today. Again, that's 833-422-4255. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
KMJ radio, streaming, social, smart speakers, on demand, online, anytime. You're always connected with KMJ. KMJ.
It's the afternoon drive. That's Philip. I'm Skip. And the question is, in a fist fight, who would win, Elon Musk or Ted Nugent?
Ted Nugent all day, dude.
What about in just talking and boring people?
Elon Musk can be a little odd sometimes to listen to. Ted Nugent has never bored anybody when he speaks. Ted Nugent is a ball of fire.
If I had to be stuck out in the mountains, I would definitely want Ted Nugent with me.
Oh, God, yes.
Right? He could make a fire, hunt something, whatever. If I needed money, I would want Elon Musk around.
Uncle Ted's not doing too bad.
Not too bad. He has some words, though, on Musk's $44 billion buyout of Twitter, which really just has turned into him using it to have fun and harass people even more lately. But he has some words, Ted Nugent.
Yes, we are experiencing a hiccup where the shackles have come off and we are experiencing non-censored communication, at least on Twitter, for the moment. But I am extremely suspicious of Elon Musk. Has he done some great things? I think the fact that he fact-checked and put their own little dirty game back on those who created the dirty game, especially the commander-in-chief, syllable challenged goofball who thinks he's the president. So that was a good gesture, a good moment, a good indicator. But my friends, remain vigilant. Remain suspicious. Elon Musk has a vapor trail of globalist connections. So with that in mind, do not be confused by what Mr. Left Hand is doing, because Mr. Right Hand may be grabbing you by the posterior.
And you definitely
don't want to get grabbed by the posterior.
Definitely not. That was on the Nightly Nuge.
Yes, if you want to hear the entire diatribe, that specifically is from the November 1st installment of the Nightly Nuge. We're going to talk a little bit about Mr. Musk and his recent acquisition, because I happen to think that Ted Nugent's right about this. Don't be distracted by what the left hand is doing while the right hand is in motion.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at kmjnow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Amazon Music or Stitcher.
This is Fresno County District Attorney Lisa Smitkamp. More than ever, we need local elected officials who are willing to take a tough stance against crime in our community. That's why I'm supporting Matt Baskell for Clovis City Council. Matt has a proven record of fighting crime. As police chief in the city of Clovis, Matt Baskell worked closely with my office to help keep Clovis safe. Proven results do matter. That's why I'm encouraging you to vote for Matt Baskell for Clovis City Council.
This is retired police chief and candidate for Clovis City Council, Matt Baskell. Clovis is a very special place to live and raise a family, and I want to keep it that way. I've lived here for over 30 years. My wife Joni and I raised our family here, and I want your family to have the same opportunities that we had. Good schools, clean neighborhoods, and safe streets. That is why I am running for Clovis City Council, and I would appreciate your vote. Paid for by Matt Baskell for Clovis City Council 2022.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention! If you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by up to 99%. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-793-1525 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-793-1525. That's 800-793-1525. Again, 800-793-1525.
Listen, could Gregory change your life?
I went from size 44 pants back to the size 38 pants that I had worn when I was in college. Now the 38-inch pants fall off of me. I lost the weight. I felt better. I've lost 63 pounds and 6 inches of pant size. God bless you for having this product and having it at a reasonable price.
Outstanding. Gregory is 70 and lost belly fat and 6 inches off his waist in 5 months. Since 2004, Andro 400 has been helping men like you lose belly fat, gain energy, and improve their lifestyle. We guarantee it. Go to andro400.com for more true testimonials, before and after photos, and special discounts. Only available on andro400.com. andro400.com.
Ad paid for by Sentinel Group. Attention parents of premature babies. If your child was born prematurely and was later diagnosed with severe intestinal injuries or necrotizing enterocolitis, also known as NEC, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Several studies have shown a link between cow's milk-based formula and serious intestinal injuries. If your baby was fed a cow's milk-based formula such as Similac, Enfamil, Gerber, or even store-branded cow's milk-based formula and suffered from severe intestinal injuries, call us today. NEC is a severe intestinal illness that often requires surgery and can be fatal 50% of the time. If your child was fed a cow's milk-based formula and later suffered serious intestinal injuries or NEC, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Our attorneys will fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there is a recovery in your favor. Time is limited to file a claim, so call us at 800-784-3702. That's 800-784-3702. Again, 800-784-3702.
Measure C was a mistake 20 years ago, and it's a mistake now. We paid the price, but our kids shouldn't. There's no future in Measure C. Vote no. Ad paid for by No on Measure C 2022.
The original KMJ, 580 AM, 1059 FM, Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
It's 4 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. Stabbing suspect is on the loose in Fresno. A man in his 20s walked into the hospital with a stab wound in his arm early this morning. He told officers he was stabbed in the southeast part of the city near Clovis and Grove Avenues. It's unclear what led up to the stabbing. Anyone with information of the suspect is urged to come forward. California has the nation's largest homeless population, more than 173,000, according to last last year's statistics. KMJ's Liz Kern reports Governor Gavin Newsom today says he'll delay $1 billion in funding the local governments for homelessness spending because he says they're not being aggressive enough.
The state grant program would have committed $15.3 billion over the next 3 years to combat homelessness. 58 counties and the 13 largest cities getting a share of the funding if they submitted plans to reduce homeless population and increase permanent housing. But Governor Gavin Newsom says so far plans submitted showed a collective 2% drop in homelessness over the next 4 years, while some plans even showed double-digit increases in the homeless population. Newsom says he's holding funding until after a meeting with local leaders later this month, reviewing the state's collective approach to homelessness and to identify new strategies to better address the crisis. Liz Kern, KMJ News.
A motorcyclist is dead. It follows a crash in Visalia. CHP says a man and woman driving a motorcycle at an unsafe speed when they collided with an SUV. The man and woman thrown off the motorcycle. The man died at the scene. The woman taken to a hospital. Her condition is not known at this hour. Suspected serial attackers in custody today. That's after an early morning rape in New York City. ABC's Aaron Kotersky has more.
Carl Fanner, a 29-year-old man experiencing homelessness, was arrested for the sexual assault of a woman who had been jogging just before 6 a.m. along the west side of Manhattan. Police sources told ABC News the suspect used the victim's credit card at a Target in Midtown. Fanner was also charged with attacking a different woman in nearly the same spot back in March and with the robbery of a woman on the east side last month.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Done with the rain for now. Next chance comes Sunday with rain expected through next Wednesday. But now we're dealing with temperatures 12 to 14 degrees below normal, which is usually 71 in Fresno. Afternoon high today, 57. And cold enough for a frost advisory along the western hills with a freeze warning in Paso Robles. Overnight temps as low as 28 there. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
Things just getting a little too busy out in the roadways right now. Westbound 168 at Shaw Avenue, there's an animal hazard. It's actually on Shields, on westbound 168 between Shields and Shaw, just to be on the exact. Reedley, East Manning is South Lackjack, got defective traffic signals there. In Madera, they're dealing with a crash, and it's on Highway 41 at Avenue 12. It does have a tendency to back some traffic up in that area as well. At South Walnut Avenue at West North Avenue, hit and run, non-injury accident. Next update, 417. It's Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Inflation still at a 40-year high. President Biden insisting prices will ease.
That's a bunch of malarkey.
KMJ's Afternoon Drive with Philip and Skip. Listen anywhere with the Odyssey app or at KMJNow.com.
It's 4:05 on your Afternoon Drive Thursday edition at News Talk 580 and 1059 KMJ. For those of you who missed it, the 2 o'clock hour, we talked with the Republican candidate for California State Controller Lonnie Chen. And that is going to be available as a special solo podcast. Subscribe wherever you listen, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, whatever. Just search for KMJ's Afternoon Drive. You'll see it up there. Give it a listen. I think that the man has, and I'm being completely serious about this, I think that the man has a serious chance of being the first Republican elected to statewide office in the better part of 2 decades. It's a nice bonus that he also happens to have the chops for the job. Lonnie Chen might be one of the smartest people we've ever had on the show.
You and I behind the scenes were talking about that. Like, I was like, dude got 4 degrees from Harvard and teaches at Stanford. We've talked about make politics boring again.
Yeah.
I want to make state accountants boring again too. He wasn't boring, but I mean, like, look at the numbers. I need the math, and I need to be able to see it. And the fact that I think at one point he had mentioned like $30 billion is missing.
Yeah.
Was it billion? It was with a B, huh?
Mm-hmm.
From just like one little pocket that we can't account for. I think, yes, Give me those numbers, guys.
If you want to know more about him, like I said, listen to the podcast or go to chenforcontroller.com. And we do have that link up for you on social media at Drive KMJ. Another guy who I think knows how to play numbers, Elon Musk. David Lazarus doing a special commentary for KTLA talks about the plan tweeted by Elon Musk to impose an $8 monthly charge on users who want to have blue check verified accounts, plus a couple other perks.
Yeah. Next step, tax the super rich. That's what he's doing. He wants to. None of us are super rich. Literally none. That's where he started, right? Because in order to get verified, that's your blue check.
Yes.
You gotta jump through the hoops on this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's free right now, but it is a good way to make sure that this is the person that I'm wanting to follow, whether you're a lefty, righty, or anywhere in the middle.
Stephen King, the author, as in the guy who is the author of 57 international best-selling New York Times chart-topping novels, maybe the most recognizable single author in contemporary fiction, tweeted that he has no intention of paying a monthly fee. Musk responds, well, we need to pay the bills somehow. If you're Stephen King, Stephen King's books are going to sell, whether he's on Twitter or not.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen King is still going to have God knows how many do we have any idea how many millions of followers Stephen King has on Twitter?
I'll look it up while you're talking.
Keep
going. Yeah, keep going with your thought there, and I'll look it up.
If he's already got, for argument's sake, let's say Stephen King, it comes in on the short end with 5 million followers.
6.9 million.
Okay, there we go. See, so not a crazy like Obama or Musk or Trump level following, but we're still talking about, you said almost 7 million, right?
Yeah, 6.9.
The little nonsense fake accounts that are out there are already out there. And they've got 12 followers plus a bunch of bots. If you're looking for Stephen King and you find one account that has a picture of Stephen King and 7 million followers, do you care if there's a blue check or do you think you found the right place?
Well, I guess it's in establishing it in the first place.
Sure.
The thing about it is I saw, like another artist that said they were leaving, not because of the blue check thing, but because of some of the increase in behaviors that have been taking place.
Mm-hmm. 500% increase in use of the N-word.
Yeah. I mean, I get what he's doing in terms of like, kind of going back to, like tax the people, charge the people that have the money. But I don't think that Elon grasps the part that people think social media is free. Well, because it has been technically, except for selling your data.
Exactly the point made by Mr. Lazarus over at KTLA. The way he phrases it is, charging a fee to use Twitter isn't the deal we all signed up for. The deal, as is similarly the case for Facebook, Google, and other feature-rich services, is that the company serves up all the cool functionality for free, and in return, we, the users, tacitly agree to abandon our privacy and allow the service provider to mine our accounts for personal information that can be sold to marketers and other third parties.
That's the deal.
And it's why anybody who knows anything about online technology says you're the commodity when it comes to these online entities. You're the commodity.
Yeah. So what he says is this is double dipping because you want to charge for Twitter while also continuing to mine all that data. This is our trade-off.
Yeah.
We're in on it every time we hit the terms and conditions. So, 2 questions are raised. First, will Twitter users stand for, I don't know if I'd call it being exploited, not once but twice as a profit center? Do you think that they'll do that? I ain't paying for it. I'm paying for any of them. I barely paid for dating apps. I didn't pay for the dating apps that were premium.
No, because you're a woman and there's a double standard in dating apps. There are I would say easily hundreds of thousands of Twitter users who will absolutely pay $8 a month to be verified, to get better placement in search results, to have fewer ads in their experience. There are people that will pay for that. I think one of the big sells here is the ability to post longer videos.
Yeah, so the current population of verified blue checks, 420,000, which is less than 0.2%.
Yeah.
And it could cost as much as $19.99 a month, depending on which level of membership you want.
Well, yeah, Musk has kind of floated all these different ideas. So Dave Lazarus goes on to say that his feeling is that this is a lot like what the airlines pulled, where now you get nickel and dime for amenities that used to be free.
Yeah.
Air carriers got away with it because people still need to get from point A to point B. Do people still need Twitter?
So in my life, I don't really feel like it, obviously, but where I see some of it that's been important is the use of these platforms, whether it be Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or whatever. The way that I have learned about the latest revolution, for instance, happening in Iran, has been social media keeping it front and center because you have the government trying desperately to shut it down. So I do think that there is a beautiful place for that availability, especially because we can get in our own little systems, in our own little communities, either online and in real life, and you don't know what's going on with the rest of the world. So, I don't want to see it go away because of that, but I'm also not going to pay for it.
No, I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to pay for Twitter. If the company, if Cumulus Media decided, oh, well, for our jocks, we're going to go ahead and get everybody verified and blah, blah. Yeah, great. Okay, I'm perfectly happy to ride along. It's not a valuable enough tool to me. Because I know this is probably going to sound like just absolute madness to some of you. I still believe that radio actually lives on the radio. Social media is like a great permission marketing system, and that's what I'm going to use it for. I'm not going to pay for Twitter.
Yeah.
The return on investment is, frankly, the return on investment just in terms of the time that I have put into Twitter versus the positive yield of having been there, that almost doesn't pencil out. You throw on $100 a year in subscription fees, and I don't care.
Do you think one of the things Musk is looking at here is, you brought up the airlines, which makes total sense. I remember when they used to charge you for the headphones that only had two jack, they had the two jacks, so you had to use theirs. Now they allow you to do it for free, but you pay for everything else. But what I was thinking is, I wonder if he's looking at how many streaming services people pay for and going, well, they'll pay for a Hulu and a Disney Plus and a HBO Go and a blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, they'll definitely pay $8 a month for this too.
No. I will remain unverified. As long as Twitter's free for just private users, I'll continue to use Twitter to the extent that I do. If it was to turn into just flat out, you have to pay to be here, I'm gone. I'm out. And as far as getting verified, I don't care.
Well, and
it means nothing to me.
He paid $44 billion.
Yeah.
And there are 420,000 verified users. If that pencils out to $100 a year each, that's only 4.2 million.
Yeah.
So you're not even putting a dent in your bills.
It'll take 10,000 years for him to make his money back at that.
Yeah. So when you pencil it out that way, it really doesn't make any sense.
The other thing that jumps out to me here is, and it says specifically, better placement in search results, which means that Mr. Free Speech, laissez-faire communication knows that the search results in Twitter are weighted and manipulated and is offering to further weight and manipulate them for people who are willing to pay for the service, which means that somebody who goes in, like a Stephen King, and develops an organic following is being held hostage to cough it up $100 a year, which he can totally afford, or being deprioritized against who?
Well, the Who, not the band, is... What have we seen? We've seen foreign entities trying to use our social media to manipulate, right? Happened on Facebook. This will be a real great way to do it on Twitter.
They seem to be putting their energy into TikTok right now. Joking aside, some of the stuff on TikTok now, you're starting to find out it's actually being run from inside China.
What?
Yeah, go figure. The Chinese Communist government being dishonest with Westerners. It's wild, isn't it? Hey, when we get back, a little bit more on the Twitter thing. Civil rights leaders seek an audience with his muskiness to talk about what in the world's going on the platform.
He smells like a ferret.
In Tulare right now, northbound 99 at Prosperity, got an injury accident being reported there. Visalia, northbound 99 at Avenue 260, got a collision, unknown injuries to this point. Reedley, East Manning, South Lackjack, defective traffic signals still haven't been corrected, so treat that as a four-way stop. In Madera, on Highway 41 at Avenue 12, we got a collision with possible injuries. And finally, in Fresno on East Central South Locan, disabled vehicle was causing a hazard. They got the vehicle on the right-hand shoulder, and they're just waiting for the tow truck. Next update is 4:33. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Hey, everybody. It's Philip Teresi for GetANewBit.com. By now, you've heard about investing in crypto, and you're probably excited by the reward potential, but maybe you want to know more about how it works before you jump in. Head over to GetANewBit.com. That's GetANewBit.com, and do your own research. Learn about a local company changing how crypto makes you money and how businesses can keep more of their profits by accepting a new bit. And yes, you heard that right. A local team building a coin that shares revenue with every holder, saves businesses a boatload on processing fees, and builds on the best technology in the game. Visit GetANewBit.com to start doing your homework. GetANewBit.com. This ad does not constitute financial or professional advice. Consult your professional financial advisor before making any personal decisions or investing. Team Anubit wants to do this right. Every investment carries some risk. Do your diligence. And if you have questions, email the Anubit team. They make it easy. Get started at GetANewBit.com.
There are several people running for Clovis City Council, but there is only one with a proven record of protecting the Clovis way of life. That's current council member Drew Bessinger. Drew is a U.S. Army veteran and retired Clovis police captain. He has served as interim police chief for 3 Valley cities. Drew kept his promises of smart and controlled growth, supporting public safety, and helping local small business owners when they needed it most. Vote to re-elect Councilman Drew Bessinger. He's getting the job done.
This is Clovis Council Member Drew Bessinger. It's been an honor to serve you on the Clovis City Council. For nearly 30 years, I have served the citizens of Clovis, 22 years with the Clovis Police Department, and 5 years as your council member. I am proud of our accomplishments: smart growth, improved community safety, and a balanced city budget. While serving as mayor, we were hit by the COVID pandemic. We used common sense and reasonable precautions to protect our community while defending your personal freedoms and supporting our businesses. I'm Drew Bessinger, and I would appreciate your vote. Paid for by Drew Bessinger for Clovis City Council 2022.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention! If you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by up to 99%. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-793-1525 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-793-1525. That's 800-793-1525. Again, 800-793-1525. Ad paid for by Montreal Drugstore. Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. PowerPill allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 per pill? Call today and get 50 Viagra pills for only $99. This could cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call this if you want Viagra at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-204-0017 today to save up to $500 and get 50 pills for just $99. Power Pill is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-204-0017 to take your call now. Call 800-204-0017. That's 800-204-0017. Again, 800-204-0017.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Where elections are won and lost. News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Now, more with Philip and Skip.
If you want to follow along, you can find the video feed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. You can also find us on all of the social media. We do appreciate you being here. That's Philip. I'm Skip. We're doing a little rundown of his muskiness, as you referred to him as. That just made me laugh. So we'll see if Elon is going to move forward with charging folks for Twitter. But now, as he sits on the throne of owning the company, folks want meetings with him. Civil rights leaders want meetings with him.
Yeah, a joint letter coming from the Urban League, the National Action Network, and the NAACP. All three leaders say that they are alarmed by the rise in white supremacist propaganda and racial and religious hatred on Twitter that occurred literally as soon as Elon Musk took over.
Yeah, the groups say that the purpose of the request is to address concerns and better understand content moderation, to protect communities against abuse on Twitter by those who seek simply not to express controversial views, but who seek to harm us and undermine democracy.
Okay, so let's get right to the heart of this. Part of Elon Musk's charm offensive leading up to this purchase is Twitter needs to be free speech because America is about free speech, and so therefore Twitter needs to let people say whatever they want to say as long as it's not flat out against the law. So people are testing that. Some people are testing that just by posting ridiculous, insane, stupid, sometimes extremely offensive things. And some people are treating it as an opportunity to go out and say the most hateful stuff that they can conjure out of their gross little imaginations because nobody's going to do anything about it. You can't stop me, yes. Neener, neener. I am torn between acknowledging that the promotion and platforming of hateful speech begets more hateful speech and consequently more hateful behavior, and acknowledging that tolerance of intolerance is not requisite to be seen as a tolerant society or platform. People are going to hate other people for stupid and ignorant reasons, no matter who owns Twitter. Is it the job of a platform who is just there to offer a platform to police all of their content?
I think, well, first of all, I don't think that Twitter was, first of all, Twitter is a privately owned company, so you are not promised your First Amendment right on that.
Correct.
I think that there is a responsibility in understanding what's put out there, because it's one thing to have your wackadoo Nazi person on this side of town doing something. Gives them a whole lot more power when they can reach out to all of the other ones that are connected via the internet, right? So it used to be you could be out of your mind on a soapbox on the corner, and now you can just be on the internet. Here's some numbers that I think are interesting. There was a group of researchers that looked at the immediate change on Twitter once Elon Musk took over. They found out in the week leading up to Musk's acquisition, they said there was no more than 84 hostile tweets an hour on the platform, which seems pretty low to me. But okay, so it's catching some stuff.
Okay.
From midnight on October 28th, which is the day he took ownership, to noon the next day, there were 4,778 hate-filled tweets. And that accounts for more than 398 tweets an hour, which is 4.7 times higher than the 7-day average leading up. That potential to reach more than 3 million. And by the way, for things that were flagged as hate speech, they looked at the N-word, the K-word, and the F-word, which I would say like the F-word's fun. But I also like think that it could be. Oh, I'm thinking of the 4-letter F-word, not the 3-letter F-word.
You're thinking of the one that rhymes with waterfowl, not the one that's a bundle of sticks.
Yes.
Okay.
That one. Yeah, the other one's not fun. So I mean, those are pretty nasty words. I mean, like, pretty nasty.
It's 2022. If you're shocked and offended by people saying the F word on the internet, get off the internet.
But okay. True story, though, is it was literally the accounts that I saw that were throwing the N-word down were like the people that were throwing the N-word down because now they could say it and they wouldn't get popped in the face.
But yes, and that's been an ongoing thing since before the internet was the internet. This was a thing in chat rooms before we had graphic user interfaces. This was a thing on bulletin board systems when we were all dialing into Club Fresno. Although Club Fresno was actually pretty good about content moderation. Ziggy was a tyrant.
So you're saying there was a place for it? Moderation.
Well, it was certainly in Club Fresno. I mean, people could be salty and people could say some pretty wild stuff, but there was a line. And if you crossed it, you could get blown out properly and permanently. I don't like bigots. I've said it 1,000 times. The only good Nazi is a dead Nazi. I think that the complication in the First Amendment argument that one can reasonably make that the best disinfectant for bad ideas is exposure fails when you add the complication that the users of Twitter are largely anonymous. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a handful of people. There's the Nick Fuentes's of the world that will just pop up and start throwing the N-word around or any other, pick any other slur. He seems to be comfortable with all of them. There's a lot more people that have accounts that are set up as fake cows or as clowns or as fecal matter or as, whatever, that they're not being held accountable for that speech in any way. It's not tied to their name, so there is no repercussion, and they are encouraging other people to be disgusting. If there was a process by which I can say, hey, John Doe at 1234 Main Street called me the N-word on Twitter, I would feel very differently than, Derp 69, who doesn't exist anywhere but Twitter, talking to my kid like that.
Well, and then we also see, too, that it's one thing to just say stuff, but there are people that, online bullying is a thing, right? Like we talk about that in related to kids and stuff that's going on there. So I think that that's a piece where it's not just throwing the words out for no reason. Sometimes there is definitely the targeting. Now, one of the researchers did notice and called it short-term trolling campaign, short-term trolling campaign. And removed many of those repeated bad actors. For example, on that Saturday, there were 50,000 tweets with a particular slur that were issued by just 300 accounts, most of which are inauthentic.
Yeah.
That person behind those accounts can get popped in the mouth.
Well, and it's people are.
I'm not a proponent of violence. What is going on?
Because that's how people used to get disabused of the notion that you could speak to other people that way. It's really, really easy to get on Twitter and call somebody some kind of hateful name. It's a very different thing to stand there, look him in the eyes, say it, and understand there's a possibility that it might catch you a chipped tooth.
The other piece of this that's strange, though, is Musk is saying that, they hadn't made any major content decisions. So did those things just not happen before because people didn't jump on board the let's test the boundaries?
His staff froze and people started testing boundaries.
Okay.
It was a combination of things, and it'll die down because it's like the anecdote about the kid who gets a reaction from mooning. The first time everybody gasps and squeals and covers their eyes, and it's a big deal. The fifth time the kid comes in and shows you a pressed ham, everybody's going, dude, go to bed. Well, it's the same thing with somebody who's on the internet being shocking for the sake of being shocking. They think they're Howard Stern the first time they get 75 replies condemning them and telling them to shut up and stop it. 2 or 3 weeks in, everybody who doesn't want to hear from them has blocked them or muted them. Mm-hmm. And so some of this will die the natural death that it deserves to die. In terms of Musk sitting down with civil rights leaders, I think he's a fool not to. I also don't think that it's going to change his mind because I think that a big part of this for him is generating publicity by allowing the troll campaigns to occur.
Well, and then he's a bit of a troll himself too, right? I mean, he was like out there like poking at certain people that were complaining about the blue checks. So he's loving. This is what happens when you have too much money.
I thought, no, that's not correct. When you have too much money, God helps you find cocaine.
KMJ News now.
It's 4:30 in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. A search has come to an end for a missing Los Manos man last seen in August. 20-year-old Santana Rosales found dead in the Delta Mendota Canal between Santa Nella and Gustine. Family members put out a plea since his disappearance back on August 22nd. The case now turned into a criminal investigation. It has been handed down to the Merced County Sheriff's Office. Police are revealing more details about the deaths of a young Fresno mother and her infant daughter at a news conference. Chief Paco Balderrama says they believe 18-year-old Yaneli Solorio Rivera was holding her 3-week-old baby when someone started shooting them. Balderrama urging the community to get involved, saying, quote, someone knows something about the double homicide, a $25,000 reward being offered for information on the suspect or suspects. Former President Trump's legal team firing back in court after New York's Attorney General Letitia James seeks to monitor his company, the Trump Organization, facing a multi-million-dollar lawsuit for misleading creditors and banks in an effort to get more favorable loans. More from ABC's Aaron Katersky in New York.
Attorneys for former President Trump said the New York Attorney General was trying to seize control of his family real estate firm, and they urged the judge to reject the state's request to install a monitor to oversee the Trump Organization. The Attorney General's office said it's trying to prevent fraudulent activities that are still going on despite a $250 million civil lawsuit that called them out. Trump's side accused the Attorney General of overreach and said there was no public interest in injecting the court into private business matters. The state said it's trying to assure a level playing field in the marketplace. Aaron Katersky, ABC News at the courthouse in New York.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Dealing with temperatures 12 to 14 degrees below normal, which is usually 71 in Fresno. Afternoon high today, 57, and cold enough for a frost advisory along the western hills with a freeze warning in Paso Robles. Overnight temps as low as 28 there. Done with the rain for now. Next chance comes Sunday with rain expected through next Wednesday. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Joe Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
Thank you, Jim. In Fresno right now, we got some slow-moving traffic, which is to be expected this time of the night, from the 180 to northbound 41 past McKinley. In Tulare, northbound 99 at Prosperity, we got an injury accident and lots of emergency vehicles on that scene right now, so expect a little bit of a delay because of that. 168 is looking good, and 99 through Madera is up to the speed limit. Next update, 447. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Madera County's mountain communities need principled and experienced leadership. That's why we need to elect Bobby McCauley as our Madera County Supervisor in District 5. Bobby is endorsed by Sheriff Tyson Pogue and District Attorney Sally Marino, and is a third-generation resident of our mountain communities. Bobby McCauley will prioritize public safety, forest management, our small businesses, and water for our farmers. Vote Bobby McCauley for Supervisor on November 8th.
Paid for by the Friends of Robert McCauley for Supervisor 2022.
Oh, don't you know? Your O-negative blood can save the lives of trauma victims and your family or friends. Turn a negative into a positive. Find out if you're O-negative by donating now at the Central California Blood Center. Go to donateblood.org.
Calling all early care and education superheroes, Fresno EOC Head Start 0 to 5 is hosting Super Saturday Job Fair. Apply and interview in person this Saturday, November 5th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 1920 Mariposa Street in downtown Fresno. For more information, call 559-263-1200 or go to fresnoeoc.com/careers. Help families and children thrive with a career as a teacher, assistant, or administrative support. Apply ahead of time at fresnoeoc.org/careers and upload all documents required on the online application. You can also scan documents and apply at the job fair. Don't miss this opportunity to join the Fresno EOC Head Start 0 to 5 team. For more information, call 559-263-1200 or go to fresnoeoc.com/careers.
Oh, now you know. The Central California Blood Center needs not just O-negative blood, but all blood, even if you don't know your type. Every single donation has the potential of saving multiple lives, including family and friends. Go to donateblood.org now.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and my company is Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to provide custom blinds, shades, and shutters at affordable prices. Our blinds are easy to install and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive professional. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
It's the afternoon drive with Philip and Skip on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
It's meant for everyday people to understand.
100 years of KMJ. Now more with Skip and Philip.
It's 4:38. Skip Echeverria, Philip Teresi, your afternoon drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Wild story coming out of D.C. today. A man arrested after driving through security, blew through the checkpoint, and was apparently on a mission to kill some people. 36-year-old Tamarat Yahulawork drove a black Ford Expedition through the checkpoint at the Pentagon, broke off the drop arm, and proceeded into the Pentagon parking area.
Yeah, they said in an affidavit that the Pentagon Police Department officers tried to raise a secondary barrier blocking the vehicle, but he was moving too fast and drove over the barrier before it could raise.
So the agent's statement continues saying that when an officer tried to get his attention with a flashlight, Yahulawork accelerated the vehicle towards the agent. At that point, the officer pointed his weapon at the vehicle, ordered the suspect to stop. Yahulawork ignored him and kept driving.
Officers were only able to stop the suspect when they used their cruisers to pin his vehicle against a parked car by the entrance near the Pentagon's south parking lot. After Pentagon officers took him into custody, he yelled, "Blank America," and told officers, "I hate America and I'm trying to kill people."
At this time, the court filing that's available at this point, no specification of what charges Yahulawork faces, but he was in court Tuesday and ordered by a judge there in Virginia to be held without bond. The court documents also state that the man had no criminal record prior to this arrest. He's an Ethiopian, for those of you who don't speak idiot, an Ethiopian national who entered the United States on a visa and whose immigration status is unclear.
The story could have gone so much worse.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, it could have. Is this a nut? Is this somebody who had one too many bad days, the visa got revoked, the job got lost, the girlfriend left you, you got evicted, and so I'm going to go to the Pentagon and ruin somebody else's day. I'll take them with me.
I mean, I know every time we have some of these like issues related to kind of mass attempts at violence, you always hear me bring up like the radicalization piece. In this case, this is somebody who, I mean, I don't know that you get in on a work visa without somebody signing for you, right?
That's my understanding.
Right. And there hasn't been any stuff that we've seen at this point popping up related to a trail of sharing things online and all of that at this point.
Are you surprised that it would be that easy to get onto the grounds of the Pentagon?
Yeah, frankly, yeah. Because what I'm thinking about with the barriers, the sticky thing, the little stick arm that comes down, it's not going to stop anything. Maybe a person on a bicycle.
No, but they've got those automatically elevating ballers.
Yeah, but if those move too slow and this person's like, here I go, then they might not go up fast enough to be able to flip the switches and get that going.
Yeah, I'm not familiar enough with the design, and I know that there's going to be variants that probably aren't available to the general public, or that the engineering won't be explained to the general public. I'm torn between, you need to have those suckers pop up like they're blown with an airbag, and somebody's going to accidentally get their car overturned if somebody hits the wrong button after they come through the gate.
Well, and from what I'm seeing here, when they stopped him, did he have a weapon or anything? He just
There's
had
nothing
his car.
said about a weapon.
Yeah, so this is where I wonder if you have somebody who is having like that violent outburst. I don't know how much of a medical history you could have on somebody, or a history related to a criminal record on somebody who's here on a work visa. Like, how long were they here? I'm glad they didn't hurt anybody.
But yeah, there's nothing in here about a weapon. Looking at the affidavit, and specifically the probable cause, which includes a blow-by-blow of Yahula Works' efforts there at the Pentagon. It details him yelling "F America" and "I hate America" and "I was trying to kill people." And it talks about using cruisers to pin his Ford Expedition against other vehicles parked by the mall entrance. But there's nothing about him being in possession of a weapon. More details to come on this story. I'm glad they got him the way they did.
Yeah, and at this point, the defense attorney has not responded to requests, and the court docket didn't indicate whether he would plan to enter a plea in the case. We have seen these attacks on the Pentagon and on the police there, and security barriers in the past couple of years. In 2021, a Pentagon officer was killed in a stabbing. In 2020, a man was arrested for attempting to set a car on fire with possible explosive devices in the parking lot.
Do you remember about 20 years ago when they tried to bomb the IRS service center here in Fresno?
Vaguely.
I don't remember what the affiliation of the group was. I'm torn between it was some kind of Iranian cell and it was just good old-fashioned tax protesters. And I just can't remember which it was anymore. But they had set up in the lot adjacent to the service center. Mm-hmm. And if you guys had never been out there, it's an enormous facility, and it's got that parking lot goes for days. These guys set up in an adjacent lot, and the mortar that they were using to lob their ordinance couldn't even reach the staff cars because the parking lot's so big. Nobody's parking at the outside of the very outside of the parking lot. So they ended up with like a couple of vehicles that got like incidental damage, but nobody got hurt. The building was never in danger. These guys never got anywhere near it. And I just think about that kind of Keystone Cops idiot terrorist nonsense.
Which makes you go like, well, at least they're dumb, so they weren't effective.
If we've got to have domestic terrorism, if that's a fact of life, I would prefer that it be very stupid people, yes.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing that's interesting on it. This story, was kind of broken, got covered through today. There are usually a few sources you and I can go to where you can find if somebody has connections If somebody has an online presence, you're going to be able to find links to it. I'm not seeing anything.
No. So he's a nobody who had a bad day. Maybe he was radicalized. Maybe he lost his job. His visa got yanked and his girlfriend told him adios, loser.
Yeah, who knows? But the fact that there's not a lot of stuff, kind of puts him, I think, into a different category than people that have a manifesto.
Is it more worrisome when you don't have an online trail at this point?
Oh, man. Because it's so hard to not have an online trail, right?
Dude, I have been able to reestablish contact with people that under any other circumstance, like my girlfriend from kindergarten, I was able to find her, sent her a note. Hey, I don't know if you remember me, but we went to Feria together, blah, 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 and got this really sweet note back, and she's married and happy, and that's lovely. It would have been really weird to discover that person didn't exist online. And yet there's a couple of people from my life,
that that just don't.
One of the best friends I ever had, a guy named Matt Tagliente.
That's a cool name.
His brother David's online. His brother Jake's a friend of mine on Facebook. Great guys. We hung out like very end of high school, the first couple of years afterwards. One of my absolute best friends in the world. And I know where he is. I got his number. He has no online presence. He doesn't exist on the internet, and it freaks me out.
So I know some folks that don't exist on the internet, but that's because they're older and they just never got on board with it.
Dude, you can find information about my dad, and he died in 1994.
Okay, I got nothing then.
That's what
Yeah.
It's weird.
I mean, you could do Google searches and find people, but I guess what I'm saying is stuff that people put up themselves to give you an idea of a look into what's going on in their brain.
A lack of both raises a different kind of alarm bell in my head. What have you been doing? Have you been under a bridge this entire time?
In Fresno, look out for some slow-moving traffic on the 180 through northbound 41, now past McKinley. It's slow and go there. Some good news out of Tulare, northbound 99 at Prosperity, the site of an injury accident. Roadway is now clear. Vehicles are off to the side, and it's smooth sailing. Highway 41 at Avenue 12 in Madera, a collision there, but they have a tow truck on the scene to get that all cleared up. Next update, 5:03. It's Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Offer not valid in all states or were prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Wait. Tell me, where'd you get that money?
Oh, this? Oh, man. All this money came from 43money.com right online.
Are you saying you went to 43money.com and got all that money you needed fast?
Man, you know it. I went to 43money.com yesterday and bam, $5,000 was in my account today. Straight up.
Now, hold on. 43money.com helped you get $5,000 like that?
Yeah, man, that's right. 43money.com's lenders provide personal loans for up to $5,000 for people like you and me, even if you don't have good credit.
Man, I'm always short on cash. Can 43money.com help me get the money I need fast?
If you need extra money fast, go to 43money.com. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 43money.com and you can get the loan you need now. Regardless of your credit, go to 43money.com to get the money you need fast. Type www.43money.com directly into the address bar. That's 43money.com. Again, 43money.com. 43money.com.
I know exactly how you feel. You're sitting there at the gas pump wondering, am I ever going to have a regular meal again? Because you're cutting out all the good food because you can't afford the gas, right? Wait until you see your next PG&E bill. No more meals out and no more hair because you're going to be pulling that out as well, too. Do what I did. Planet Solar. When you have a solar system put in by Planet Solar, you literally lock in your energy price forever. Don't you wish it could be that way at the gas pump? Sorry, but you can't do that there. But you can do it for your home with Planet Solar, and it all began for them right here in Central California. One of the things I really liked about these guys is their financing. Don't let the rate hike scare you away from going with Planet Solar. And they are really quick and good and efficient on installation. And they have become masters at putting together a complete solar package with a solar battery. So you've got the juice when PG&E says, no, you don't need it because we're trying to conserve to save the world. Click planetsolar.com. Do that. Call them at 228-9245.
This is Sheriff Margaret Mims. Please vote to elect Diane Pierce to the Clovis City Council. I'm endorsing Diane because of her no-nonsense support of public safety. Diane understands the primary role of local government is for the safety of our citizens. Her commitment to law enforcement will keep schools, businesses, and neighborhoods safe. That is why Clovis business owners, Assemblyman Jim Patterson, Supervisor Nathan Magsig, and me, Sheriff Margaret Mims, are supporting Diane Pierce for Clovis City Council. Thank you.
This is Supervisor Nathan Magsig. I'm supporting Diane Pierce for Clovis City Council. Diane is a small business owner and community volunteer. Her core values of community, family, and safety, and her ability to work with others will help advance our city council while protecting our Clovis way of life. I know Diane, and she will make a great council member. Please join me, Supervisor Nathan Magsig, and vote Diane Pierce for Clovis City Council.
Paid for by Diane Pierce for Clovis City Council 2022.
Did you know there's a conservative advocacy and benefits organization with over 2 million members and counting? It's AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. Here are 3 reasons why you should consider joining AMAC right now. First, AMAC saves you money from discounts on travel and lodging, cell phones and plans, access to insurance products, and more. Joining AMAC is a powerful tool against inflation. Second, with a bi-monthly magazine, daily web content, podcasts with America's thought leaders, and an app that delivers insightful coverage of the issues that matter most. AMAC is a trusted source of information. And third, the reason why people say it's their favorite is that AMAC fights for your conservative values on Capitol Hill. With more than 2 million members, AMAC is a voice that cannot be ignored, working tirelessly to preserve the freedoms secured by our Constitution. Go to amac.us/liberty and join today. That's amac.us/liberty. amac.us/liberty.
The most streamed station in the Valley. PCs, phones, smart speakers, and KMJNow.com.
Good news, folks. One, it's almost 5 o'clock, which means hopefully you're going to be able to get off work, get your drive home, and we'll do your trending topics. So look at your traffic and your headlines with Jim Miller. 2 is there's still a chance. There's still a chance that we could win. We meaning you, Phillip, me and my favorite friend listening on the radio right now that might be the winner. Powerball did not have a grand prize winner last night's drawing.
No, it did not.
Couple of little winners, but no big winner.
Yeah, it's now been running 39 consecutive drawings without anybody matching all 6 numbers. There are 2 Californians that are newly made millionaires because they got 5 out of 6. One ticket sold in Ontario, California, and the other sold in Milpitas.
Powerball is played in 45 states, as well as Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Now, if you win this $1.5 billion, because I always want to ask you, do you opt for an annuity paid out annually over 29 years, or choose the cash, which if you win this Saturday, that's $745.9 million.
That's a tremendous amount of cash. And I think that with the right investment advisors, you can probably do just fine with $750 million. My answer is, depending upon the advice of the attorneys that I am immediately going to hire, if I am able to establish an LLC or a trust into which this will be paid, so that in the event that I get hit by a bus, my family continues to receive the money, I want the annuity. But with this much money, if I can't set up something that will live beyond me, because look, I'm 43 years old, I've been living off of whiskey and cheeseburgers for more years than I should have. It's a coin flip if I'm going to make it for another 3 decades. I'll take the $750 million and go from there. What about you? Would you take the whole thing, or are you going to be happy with half and I'll disappear to live my life.
I feel like if I took the whole thing, if I didn't die, right? Because I mean, like, you got to add that on. I might go the long route because then I'll feel less guilty telling people no, I don't have money to give them.
Well, and the nice thing about the annuity in my mind is you figure on something this big, you've taken care of all of Maslow's hierarchy on year one, which means that following that, you can then do things like promise that I'm going to give $1 million a year to the Central California Food Bank or the Blood Center or whatever, and just have that come off of the paycheck that you get every year for 3 decades.
And also, I mean, it would be really hard to blow through $749 million, but where there's a will, there's a way. And how often do you see people just blow through their lottery winnings? So I feel like this might be better. It's like rationing it out to me.
It forces you to pace a little bit, although then there's those folks that buy annuities. The J.G. Wentworths of the world that'll give you a big fat check right now to own the annuity.
I don't really kind of understand how those work. I was just looking at it from a budget perspective.
Yeah. It's the afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. That's Skip. I'm Philip. Your trending topics at 5 o'clock are on the way after an update of headlines with Jim Miller and a traffic update with Greg Lane, the birthday boy. Don't move.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at kmjnow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Did you know fixing outdoor leaks can save 27 to 90 gallons of water per day? Even tiny leaks can be huge water wasters. Conserving water starts with a few simple water-saving actions at home and in your yard, like adjusting your sprinklers and adding drip irrigation so you water only where it's needed. We can all do our part to conserve water. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more water-saving tips. Save water, save California.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202 now. I'm here with spokesman for the firm, John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call in.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here with you. We always enjoy answering the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now to speak with a live agent for free. Call 800-843-4202.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
In 1893, the citizens of Madera voted to break away from Fresno County. Now, the Fresno politicians want to Fresno our Madera. There is one person that can stop the Fresno politicians. That person, Andy Wheeler. Andy Wheeler's lived in District 1 for over 24 years where he raised his family. And he's a financial advisor, so when it comes to budgets, there's no one better to watch over our tax dollars. He's a school board member and used real science to get our kids back in school. Andy's experience has earned him the endorsements of every Madera County public safety organization, including our own Madera County Sheriff, Tyson Pogue. Sheriff Pogue says, I'm supporting Andy Wheeler for supervisor in District 1. His professionalism and dedication to the community is second to none. Join Sheriff Pogue, the Madera Deputy Sheriff's Association, the Madera Police Officers Association, and the Madera County Firefighters Local 2881, and vote for Andy Wheeler for supervisor.
Paid for by Andy Wheeler for Madera County Supervisor, District 1, 2022.
With so many used car lots, big and small, how do you know the difference? Take a look at Central Valley Fleet. Hand-picked pre-owned vehicles priced right and backed by Scott and Katie Beal, who've always done you right. SUVs to muscle cars to lifted trucks and the best-selling passenger vehicles, Central Valley Fleet has yours. And unlike any other pre-owned vehicle center in the Valley, even the national guys, Central Valley Fleet has an on-site service center to back up your vehicle. Central Valley Fleet on West Shaw, next to Harley-Davidson, across from Costco.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Celebrating a century of broadcasting. News Talk 580 AM, 1059 FM, KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
It's 5 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. Bank of the West reporting skimming devices found on 3 different automated teller machines in Corcoran. Devices found between October 5th and November the 2nd. Skimming devices installed in ATMs for criminals to capture the data on the magnetic strip of the card. The sophisticated devices also have a camera that captures the PIN as the unsuspecting victim enters it into the keypad. Numerous victims have made reports to the Corcoran Police Department regarding funds being withdrawn from their accounts without authorization. All of these victims were still in possession of their cards. If you believe you are a victim, you're encouraged to contact Corcoran Police. A month-long multi-agency Valley drug trafficking investigation shuts down labs and nets nearly 30 arrests.
Madera County Sheriff's deputies announced its findings from Operation Trifecta. Deputies tell us it all started in July when several agencies began tracking Ernesto Beltran's suspected drug activities. During this time, investigators say they learned he was part of a large-scale Mexican drug trafficking organization responsible for manufacturing, importing, and distributing drugs. Beginning last week, we're told warrants were served in Madera, Fresno, Merced, and Tulare counties.
This is a monumental day. The arrests made in this case, along with the closure of several processing labs and seizure of substantial amounts of drugs from their operation, will undoubtedly make a significant impact on the safety of residents of Madera County and the state of California as a whole.
Fresno City Council members hoping to pass a new housing initiative today that would help families become first-time homeowners. City officials said the No Place Like Home initiative is a 4-part plan that would help middle-class families and the homeless population get permanent housing. The plan starts with the Fresno Down Payment Assistance Program. The centerpiece for many Thanksgiving tables may be a little smaller this year. KMJ Ag Director Don York reports.
This year's turkey will cost you more and most likely will be smaller. A new CoBank report says that's because of the bird flu, which is now considered the worst in U.S. history. Not just fewer birds, the lowest numbers available in 16 years, but the average slaughter weight is below the 3-year average. Wholesale frozen turkeys are currently selling in the $1.70 per pound range, about 30% higher than a year ago. And fresh boneless breast meat is trading at $6.50 per pound, a 350% increase versus last fall. Don York, KMJ News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Dealing with temperatures 12 to 14 degrees below normal, which is usually 71 in Fresno. Afternoon high today, 57, and cold enough for a frost advisory along the western hills with a freeze warning in Paso Robles. Overnight temps as low as 28 there. Done with the rain for now. Next chance comes Sunday with rain expected through next Wednesday. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Joe Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
Thank you, Jim. In Fresno right now, slow-moving traffic through Shields on northbound 41 coming from the 180. Up in Oakhurst, Road 427 and Elliott Drive, got a report of a fire at that location. Other than that, things are looking pretty good, and I hope it stays that way till you get home. Next update, 5:17. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Now, the Valley's Afternoon Drive. Philip Teresi and Skip Echeverria. From AM Radio 580 to the internet, KMJNow.com. From Warren G. Harding to Let's Go Brandon. From 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's the Afternoon Drive with Philip and Skip. 100 years of KMJ. News, talk, radio.
5:05 at News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ. Good afternoon and welcome to hour number 4 of the Thursday installment of your Afternoon Drive. Phone numbers here are 490-5858 and toll free 800-776-5858. On Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, you can follow the show at Drive KMJ. On Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch.tv, you can watch the show also at Drive KMJ. Joshua Weekly is standing by to screen your calls this afternoon as I join Skip Echeverria back in the KMJ studios with your trending topics at 5 o'clock.
The Madera County Sheriff's Office announced the largest drug seizure in county history following a months-long operation. Officials called this Operation Trifecta, and it led to the arrest of 28 people, 13 of which lived in Madera County. It shut down 4 meth labs, 1 in Madera, 1 in Fresno County, and 2 in Tulare County. Investigators also seized 2 kilograms of fentanyl, 4 kilograms of heroin, and 1,305 pounds of meth, plus 8 firearms.
Governor Newsom announced that he will convene local leaders in mid-November to review the state's collective approach to homelessness and to identify strategies to better address the growing homelessness crisis. Until this convening, the state will hold back on providing the remaining third round of homelessness, housing assistance, and prevention grants totaling around $1 billion.
Candidate for California Controller Lan-Hee Chen joined the show to talk about his goals in office if elected on Tuesday. Associated Press identifies Chen as the only Republican running for a statewide position that has a shot at winning. Get the podcast at kmjnow.com.
With 2 sales tax measures on the ballot, reporter Doug Hoagland did a 3-month-long deep dive into how the city is spending money earmarked for Measure P. It turns out they didn't consult with Fresno's Parks, Art, and Recreation Commission in making the decision to buy the Tower Theater, using $6.5 million of those funds.
A first responders memorial was unveiled at a ceremony held in downtown Fresno. The project was in the works for about 5 years, and in 2021 was approved by the Fresno City Council. It includes 30 names in total, 17 officers and 13 firefighters who died in the line of duty.
Calvary Cemetery in Madera closed its car gate entrances this year on the Day of the Dead, citing issues with traffic, safety, loud music, and drinking in public in previous years' celebrations. A concerned citizen plans to address the Madera City Council, hoping for a positive outcome for elderly citizens and families who are trying to celebrate their culture and traditions without a hassle.
It happened. Eugene, Oregon law enforcement received reports of multiple razor blades found hidden in children's Halloween candy. Authorities have narrowed the search to the friendly neighborhood of Eugene.
Twitter rundown: Elon Musk has tweeted he plans to impose an $8 monthly charge on users who want verified blue check accounts and other perks. Meanwhile, researchers found that the 12 hours immediately following Musk's takeover, the platform saw a much more hostile environment, causing several civil rights leaders to request an audience with Elon Musk.
A 36-year-old has been arrested and charged after being accused of driving through a security checkpoint outside the Pentagon. Officers were only able to stop him when they used their cruisers to pin his vehicle against a parked car. During his arrest, he yelled, "I hate America," and was trying to kill people.
Last night's Powerball did not have a big winner. Saturday's prize now sits at $1.5 billion, making it the third largest in lottery history. Your odds of winning, in case you forgot, are 1 in 292.2 million. In other words, 3 times less likely than getting hit by lightning. It's your trending topics at 5 o'clock. For those stories and a lot more, you can get the podcast with Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Music, anywhere you want to listen. Just search for KMJ's Afternoon Drive or visit kmjnow.com. Hit the podcast tab. Not only will you find our stuff, but you'll find all kinds of great content from the rest of the KMJ team. 5:09 now on your Afternoon Drive. Again, that's Skip Echeverria. I'm Philip Teresi. Glad to have you with us. And a reminder being sent out by the National Park Service. A little PSA for those who might need it. Don't lick toads.
I know, before we get into this story, I know that there have been people in the news lately who have done this, right? Like big names. Mm-hmm. So I Googled who licks toads. And right up at the top, it's The Simpsons. And then every article and link under that is to different addiction treatment centers begging people not to lick toads.
Yeah. The amphibian in question is the Sonoran desert toad, big sucker. It's also known as the Colorado River toad, and it measures almost 7 inches. That's a big frog.
That is. I mean, if you're into frog legs, I guess that's the way to go.
No, because it secretes a really potent toxin, and it can make you sick or even kill you just handling the toad, much less putting it in your mouth.
Now, if you do somehow manage to handle the toad and get its toxins, its secretions, you crystallize those, it becomes a Schedule I drug.
But again, park officials would like to ask people to refrain from licking the things that you come across in a national park. Whether it's a banana slug, an unfamiliar mushroom, or a large toad with glowing eyes.
My goodness, man. I love the picture, by the way, that they linked to in this, and they called it totally terrifying. If you're not following National Park Service on social media, they're great because they do put a little bit of kind of fun on this.
How desperate do you have to be to get high to figure out that you can lick a toad?
Well, I think, though, that some of this actually goes back. It's not desperation. I think it's people that are trying to, what's the word? When you take over another culture's thing. Appropriate some of the, I know I can't talk today, some of the customs that come out of like Native American culture, right? Like that includes psychedelics, natural psychedelics, or things that cause you to hallucinate.
I am fascinated by psychedelics. And should there come a time where either psychedelics are rendered legal, especially like in the context of therapeutic settings, or were I to find myself in a place and time where I was no longer exposed to law enforcement or a morality clause in my contract, I suspect that I have it in me to give mushrooms or even maybe peyote a try, because I've been hearing about those my entire life. Mm-hmm. And because I know that there's people who take that stuff seriously, understand it, respect it, and can offer meaningful information about how to navigate it. I know that the same could be said about LSD. I don't trust anything that chemically manufactured. And I'm not licking a toad.
Okay, so I think that this goes back to, as well, there are people that understand how to milk a toad, because apparently I'm reading this from the National Institute of Health. Anyways, apparently there's a way to go about this so you can get the secretion and then you dry it, right, and then it's smoked and all this kind of stuff. But I really do think that this is our culture now that wants to jump all of the things to get to the end point, the gimme now, instant gratification culture. And they're like, well, I could figure out a way to study like a culture and get involved in that and then figure out all the steps that get there with somebody who can actually guide you, or I'll just go out and find a toad. Oh, this is so gross. Okay, so the National Library of Medicine at the National Center of Biotechnology Information at the NIH would like you to know that a single inhalation of vapor from dried toad secretion contains 5-methoxy-N N-dimethotriptylene, which in a naturalistic setting is related to sustained enhancement of satisfaction with life, mindfulness-related capabilities, and a discernment of psychopathological symptoms. So some people, this is where they're talking about, could this be something that's helpful in treatment for people with like chronic depression, PTSD, that kind of thing. But don't lick toads.
Don't lick toads. It seems very simple to me.
Except for, like, is this Darwin's theory of evolution? You lick enough toads and people will just die in the desert of dehydration. You stopped there for a minute because that was pretty dark.
It was pretty dark, and I love that that's rubbed off on you.
It's all your fault.
I will never advocate for the government dictating to people what they are allowed to do with their own bodies. if you are in such a hurry to get high that you are going to lick an amphibian. Knowing what we know about nature and about frogs in particular, some of the most dangerous animals in the world are frogs because of stuff like this. You go to South America and put a frog in your mouth, you're dead.
You're going to die. Yeah.
I mean, forget putting it in your mouth. You touch it, you're dead.
Yeah.
So, yes, I think that there may be in part, Darwinian solution to this. But on the off chance that there's some innocent idiot kid. And come on, I know you weren't.
I wouldn't touch frogs. I certainly would not put one in my mouth.
You were never the kind of kid that was going to go out and get high. I remember my friends talking about doing stuff with banana peels. I remember them talking about doing stuff with nutmeg. I remember when they figured out that the propellant in whipped cream cans would give you a buzz.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it does by replacing oxygen and causing parts of your brain to die.
They used to do that in the back cooler at a place that I knew of. Bad idea. Then you couldn't get the whipped cream for your dessert.
Wasn't that a C story in Waiting?
It's because it's true. Really quick on this, on the frog thing. We let our cat out once and screamed at her because Gremlin had a frog in her mouth. I think that frog got her sick because we had to keep an eye on her for about 12 hours. Her eyes were all bugged out. She was drooling.
Hi. Poor dog.
That's the cat, and that was just a regular old Fresno frog.
Somebody's going to start chasing frogs around Woodward Park.
Don't do it.
Come here, buddy. It's disgusting.
In Fresno right now, the roadways of South Clovis Avenue and East Lincoln is the scene of a non-injury accident just occurring, so we don't have a lot of details yet. Some good news on the 168 all the way through Prather, accident-free and up to the limit right now, so that's good news. Tulare, southbound 99 at Bardsley, got an injury accident there, and some road blockage because of that accident is reported. Next update is 5:33. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chancey Gold Resort and Casino.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Wait. Tell me, where'd you get that money?
Oh, this? Oh, man. All this money came from 43money.com right online.
Are you saying you went to 43money.com and got all that money you needed fast?
Man, you know it. I went to 43money.com yesterday and bam, $5,000 was in my account today. Straight up.
Now, hold on. 43money.com helped you get $5K like that?
Yeah, man, that's right. 43money.com's lenders provide personal loans for up to $5,000 for people like you and me, even if you don't have good credit.
Man, I'm always short on cash. Can 43money.com help me get the money I need fast?
If you need extra money fast, go to 43money.com. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 43money.com and you can get the loan you need now. Regardless of your credit, go to 43money.com to get the money you need fast. Type www.43money.com directly into the address bar. That's 43money.com. Again, 43money.com. 43money.com.
Ad paid for by Sentinel Group. Attention parents of premature babies. If your child was born prematurely and was later diagnosed with severe intestinal injuries or necrotizing enterocolitis, also known as NEC, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Several studies have shown a link between cow's milk-based formula and serious intestinal injuries. If your baby was fed a cow's milk-based formula such as Similac, Enfamil, Gerber, or even store-branded cow's milk-based formula and suffered from severe intestinal injuries, call us today. NEC is a severe intestinal illness that often requires surgery and can be fatal 50% of the time. If your child was fed a cow's milk-based formula and later suffered serious intestinal injuries or NEC, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Our attorneys will fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there is a recovery in your favor. Time is limited to file a claim, so call us at 800-784-3702. That's 800-784-3702. Again, 800-784-3702.
Prepare your senses for everything the 17th Annual Fresno Fall Home Improvement Show has to offer. Sponsored by Balanced Comfort Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing this weekend at the Fresno Fairgrounds. Experience the astonishing sights, the intriguing sounds, the mouth-watering tastes, and the luxurious smells. Stroll through the Tiny House Expo and get a glimpse of what life is like living tiny. Learn from the experts on gardening, flowers, kitchen and bath, landscaping, and more. Indulge yourself in gourmet food, then sample craft spirits from the cocktail corner. Shop a unique collection of beautiful, locally handcrafted products spread throughout the Makers Market. From tiny to traditional, the Fresno Fall Home Improvement Show and Tiny House Expo has something for everyone. Let us inspire you and help improve your home one project at a time. Experience it for yourself at the Fresno Home Show this weekend at the Fresno Fairgrounds. More info at fresnoshows.com. That's fresnoshows.com.
This is a tough time for Fresno County. Families, children, students, everyone is suffering. We can't afford gas, we can't afford food, and we can't afford more taxes. That's why we need to vote no on Measure C. Measure C is a bad deal, crafted behind closed doors by politicians, and it'll only get worse. A $7 billion tax we'll pay for the next 30 years. Vote no on Measure C. We can't afford it. Ad paid for by No on Measure C 2022.
So you tested positive for COVID. What's next? Treat yourself. COVID treatments like Paxlovid are free. Taken by pill, these medications can stop the illness from getting serious. So treat yourself. Call a healthcare provider or the statewide COVID hotline at 833-422-4255 to find free treatment today. Again, that's 833-422-4255. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
What I think's wrong with California, and we have extreme right, extreme left, and there's a whole bunch of us that are in the middle that are just trying to solve some problems.
Where elections are won and lost. News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
If you missed any part of the show, you can get the podcast at kmjnow.com. That's Philip. I'm Skip. We started off the show early on with a big announcement, the largest drug bust in county history up in Madera. So congratulations to those folks. But one of our listeners shared this. Mariposa County Sheriff's Office also getting a pretty significant bust of meth up there at an encampment on Frank Wilson's Way. So they were doing work up there, and the sheriff of Mariposa putting out a word that, keep an eye out. Don't do meth. It has no place in Mariposa. Good job.
Don't lick frogs. Don't do meth. What am I left with? Normally, I would never subject you guys to a unpaid commercial because that's how we make money. People pay for commercials. It's capitalism, baby. But in this case, I want to share with you the Walmart Black Friday Deals for Days kickoff ad, because Walmart, who I have a complicated relationship with,
it happens,
has managed to, I think, hit the nail on the head for a holiday ad campaign.
Thanks for calling in. Tech Nina speaking. Just a moment. Thanks for calling in. Tech Nina speaking. Just a moment. Thanks for calling in. Tech Nina speaking. Just a moment. Thanks for calling in.
Okay. Mondays are a whole new deal.
Ooh, looks like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Michael Bolton, did you know that Black Friday
is now on Mondays? Sure did.
Which means we're moving Hawaiian Shirt Day to Monday as well. Okay? Thanks.
Mondays? All right, man.
Hey, did you know?
Black Friday's on Mondays? Yeah, we know.
Okay.
Everything is cool in the mind of a gangster, because gangsterized players think.
Walmart Black Friday Deals for Days every Monday online. They have picked up what looks like most of the cast of Office Space for this campaign.
I was listening.
Plus the actual Michael Bolton, singer Michael Bolton.
Well, because what's he busy doing?
Wow.
love him, by the way. When a man loves a woman.
Oh, wait, he shows up at the end of the ad, too.
Up 365.
Tell me how Black Friday deals are on a Monday.
I mean, it might be something that gets me to go to Walmart. Maybe. I was just I was listening to it. Was Swingline Stapler guy in there?
No.
Ah, man.
The Michael Bolton of Initech, Peter, the main guy.
Yeah.
And Milton were not present.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean they won't turn up.
Yeah, maybe this is the first one. It's a nice little throwback. It's just definitely going back to our generation trying to get us into the Walmart.
Tap a little nostalgia.
Yeah,
put a
nostalgia
smile on your
sells.
face. My opinion is that Gary Cole phoned it in this ad. Lumberg.
Oh, okay. I've only seen Office Space once. I know.
No,
but
you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I know the like references and stuff, but some of the names I get a little sideways on.
Yeah, no, I understand. Also, no sign of Jennifer Aniston.
Imagine that. She did belong.
Come
on. What are you doing,
It's
Jen?
Walmart. They could afford Jennifer Aniston.
I know, but maybe she didn't want to be associated.
How could she?
She just shows up wearing the what flare? Is that what
flare.
it's called? Yeah.
Turn up with the flare vest.
She just doesn't even just say anything. Just stand there.
Oh, put her as a greeter at the door.
Yes.
Because they all wear
flare,
the vest
yes.
and have the flare on the vest.
Oh, maybe that'll be in the next one. That'll be in the next big one. Do you know she was instrumental in getting Chandler being sober?
You mean Matthew Perry?
Yeah. That was in a something.
That guy. So he's been doing the rounds. He must have a book coming out or something because he did a Diane Sawyer sit down.
Mm-hmm.
There was another interview that he just did where he kind of acknowledged that like Jennifer and some of these other people were really instrumental in getting him clean and sober. Considering what he went through as an addict, the guy looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of comments that I heard in one of the interviews. I thought, that the sense of humor is still there, like his timing and just that kind of acerbic snapback. He's still Matthew Perry. He's just Matthew Perry after a long trip down a rough road.
Well, and aren't so many really amazing, talented people or funny people kind of messed up if you think about it? I mean, it's true, right? There's definitely a line between the two. Yeah, he does have a new book out. It's called Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. But he talked about, you can see when he's using based on his weight in Friends. When he's super skinny, he's doing uppers. Or no, did he say uppers or pills? When he's really kind of puffy, that's when he's drinking.
Wow.
And they could even smell it on him, like during the cast or during filming. So anyway, but not to get off of the subject here, but just a moment on Jennifer Aniston being cool.
Oh no, look, Walmart made a cool ad campaign. I think it's neat that they got the guys from Office Space back together. I am overjoyed that Walmart's spending money on a good ad campaign instead of some unholy monkey puppy baby nonsense.
Yeah. Now, here's my question for you, since we're starting to think about that, right? Like Black Friday shopping, Christmas shopping, that kind of thing. Will you at any point make it a point to go hit sales in a store, in a real store, in person, in real life?
If I am aware that there is both a really good sale and that it is not a door-busting Black Friday, yeah, we'll sell you a 55-inch Samsung for $40, but there's two of them in stock and you've got to wait in line for 5 days. I don't play that. I'm not camping out. My time has value. If you've got good deals and you're able to get them in front of me to cut through the noise, I will absolutely go do some shopping based on that. Although honestly, most of my gift giving, I'm going to give what I'm going to give. What's going to catch my eye is if you've got something that I want.
Okay, so a little buy-in for yourself.
Yeah. Look, I've got. Oh my God! Between her siblings and mine, I've got like this entire herd of nieces and nephews, but they're all kids. Like the ones that aren't babies just want cash, and the babies, like I'm gonna buy them a copy of Dave Ramsey's Money Makeover for Kids, so they aren't as broke as their parents, and off we go. And for the adults in my life, I tend to do stuff more in the vein of like food and drink type stuff. Because most of the adults in my life have got their
buy
needs
the things
met.
that they want. Yeah.
In the household, for the wife, for my kids, yeah, I'm looking at the sales a little bit just because, I mean, everything is just out of control with inflation right now. Fortunately, my kids are, pretty well dialed. And what about you? Do you watch for sales, or are you I'm going to get what I'm going to get person?
Well, Mr. Skip's super hard to buy for because he has zero patience and will go buy his own things. But I did get his present already, and it is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to have a hard time topping me. As for the kids, they make lists. One of our daughters makes a PowerPoint presentation that she sends out to her grandparents, because her out-of-town grandparents, because they want to get a jump start on stuff. So she makes a PowerPoint presentation and presents it. And then the youngest is like, I just want some money.
As he continues to plot his takeover of the world. I got to say, though, if you are, especially for like far-flung families, Amazon wish lists. Holy
What a great
smokes.
idea, huh?
Well, and they even have it built in that somebody else may have recently purchased this item. You may want to consider looking at something else or verifying that this item is still on the wish list. So you're not telling the person who created it, hey, they bought this, and you're not telling anybody else who bought what, but there's just a little
bit of surprise. It's interesting how we've gone from like bridal showers and baby showers to now the wish list for birthdays and holidays. It's been really normalized in that way.
For my nuclear family, I know what I have a good idea of what my wife and kids want. It's helpful to get some direction, but I know what my wife and kids want. I got like 20 nieces and nephews. I don't know half of them. I can't remember their names, much less what they're interested in. Put together a wish list, and I'll find something in my price range.
KMJ News now.
It's 5:30 in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. 13 and 14-year-old students arrested after police say this duo responsible for a social media threat that put many on high alert today in Hanford. Police began to receive calls from parents at Woodrow Wilson Junior High School about a social media post of what happened to be a rifle with a message telling students not to go to school. Hanford Elementary School and the police department increasing its security at the school while officers investigated that threat. They traced the message back to two students who were not identified. According to them, the post was intended to be a joke, and the rifle ended up being a replica airsoft rifle. The gun found at one of the students' homes, and no real weapon was found. Both young teens were arrested. They faced legal and disciplinary actions by both the school and the police department. Hanford PD takes the opportunity to remind the public that these actions are not a joke in any situation. Parents are asked to talk to their children about online threats and their consequences. Protesters again interrupted the LA City Council meeting as part of ongoing efforts to force two of its members to resign. And we get the story from KABC reporter Sid Garcia.
There are three members of the public who are standing in the aisle disrupting the meeting.
Though a much smaller group than in previous Los Angeles City Council meetings, protesters interrupt the meeting not once, but 3 times before they were escorted out by police. Once the protesters were cleared from the council chambers, the city council took the next step in finalizing the special election to replace council district member Nuri Martinez, who resigned days after the racist recordings were made public. After that vote, the council took up on what to legally do to oust Kevin De Leon and Gil Cedillo from their council seats. Cedillo's term is up in a few weeks, but De Leon still has 2 years to go. He's publicly stated he won't resign.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Dealing with temperatures 12 to 14 degrees below normal, which is usually 71 in Fresno. Afternoon high today, 57, and cold enough for a frost advisory along the western hills with a freeze warning in Paso Robles. Overnight temps as low as 28 there. Done with the rain for now. Next chance comes Sunday with rain expected through next Wednesday. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Joe Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Thank you, Jim. Right now on northbound 41 at East Central in Fresno, got a hit-and-run non-injury accident. South Clovis Avenue at East Lincoln, non-injury accident now becoming a hazard due to road blockage. And north and southbound 41 are slow moving in both directions between Shaw and Shields. And in Raymond on Highway 41 at Road 209, got an injury accident being reported. Next update is 5:47. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Oh, don't you know? Your O-negative blood can save the lives of trauma victims and your family or friends. Turn a negative into a positive. Find out if you're O-negative by donating now at the Central California Blood Center. Go to donateblood.org.
Listen to Kelvin. What he's about to say could change your life.
I'm 6'2", and I was about 290, and I lost weight fast. I trimmed down. Now I'm about 235. I'm probably at about 9, maybe 10% body fat. That's great. I lost probably at least 60 pounds in probably 3.5, 4 months. Color of my hair is coming back. Skin looks better. Obviously gaining muscle. My muscle mass is coming back. Thank you for providing an awesome product. Somebody who actually has and does what they say they will. That's awesome.
That's great, Kelvin. Losing that belly fat in less than 4 months is outstanding. Since 2004, Andro 400 has been changing men's lives, like Kelvin, and can help you lose belly fat, gain energy, and improve your lifestyle. We guarantee it. Go to andro400.com for more true testimonials, before and after photos, and special discounts. Only available on andro400.com. andro400.com.
Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and actual results may vary. Oil keeps going up as the Russia conflict escalates. Get in on the next major oil boom now and help the U.S. with your patriotic investment that can potentially pay you monthly income for up to 20 or more years. That's the sound of a producing oil well and the sound of a smart investment. If you're an SEC accredited investor, you can take advantage of Encore Energy's projects. The U.S. government needs your investment in oil and is allowing you to write off nearly 100% of your investment in the first year. Goldman Sachs is projecting oil to go up to $100 a barrel. Call 800-278-7455. Call now and learn how to deduct 100% of your investment and create 20 or more years of potential monthly income. Call 800-278-7455. You'll be calling directly to the home office of Encore Energy. That's 800-278-7455.
Rudy Salas received $80,000 in free trips and gifts. One trip was tied to the Chinese Communist Party, financed by a group trying to influence politicians like Salas. Who's Salas working for? David Valadeo is pro-America. Valadeo pushed to stop China from buying American oil reserves. David Valadeo, fighting to cut gas prices. Paid for by Congressional Leadership Fund and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.congressionalleadershipfund.org. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Oh, now you know. The Central California Blood Center needs not just O-negative blood, but all blood, even if you don't know your type. Every single donation has the potential of saving multiple lives, including family and friends. Go to donateblood.org now.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
It's the afternoon drive with Philip and Skip on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
I try to find news outlets that aren't too biased.
100 years of KMJ. Now more with Skip and Philip.
Rolling through the 5 o'clock hour on a Thursday afternoon on your afternoon drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ, which you can listen to worldwide at kmjnow.com, or you can watch the show Facebook Live, YouTube, twitch.tv at Drive KMJ. Okay. If you've got super duper sensitive ears in the car, now's a really good time to check out the podcast section at kmjnow.com. But we're going to talk about
But if you love America,
now
is the time to listen.
If you love America and just a little bit of locker room humor, you're going to appreciate the behavior of a certain KC-135 Stratotanker.
Yeah, so you're going to want to go never eat soggy waffles. East of Cyprus, the island of Cyprus. And you're going to want to look up to the sky at this point, or check it out on radar. And that's where you would have seen somebody doing some circles, like maybe a kind of like an oblong shape, a couple little circles flying in and out, maybe just patrolling the area.
Yeah.
Or
perhaps if you were to track the plane's movements off the coast of Cyprus next to the Kremlin's naval base at Tartus
in Syria,
you would realize that the KC-135 Stratotanker carved into its flight path Poppy's fuzzy luggage.
I love this. American military officials have not confirmed whether the aircraft's male member depiction was deliberate. Oh, sweetie, it was deliberate.
100%.
100%.
No, this
deliberate.
is good old-fashioned, old-school bathroom wall graffiti, just done with a Stratotanker in the middle of a war zone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even really mad about it.
No, God, no.
Oh, take that, Putin. Do you think Putin found out about it? Or do you think they saw this and went, oh, no, we can't tell Putin about it?
He has no sense of humor. He has no sense of humor. Which is what makes this even better. Because, look, we talk a lot about President Grandpa, the stuff he gets wrong, the policies that he's whiffed on. You know, I'm no fan of Joe Biden as a politician. You also know that if Joe Biden was shown this, he went, ha, ha, ha. All right, boys.
Right. Like, I mean, I would say that pretty much anybody elected to office, even if we ever get to a female, it might happen. I mean, I would laugh. There are worse things. This is a little easier to do than like a middle finger.
Oh, goodness, yes.
Right? I mean, like, you got to be careful about, like, what symbols you're going to do. What else are they going to do? Right? This one's simple.
But, yeah, Putin has no sense of humor. This would enrage him. You'd have him trying to fire on every aircraft not of Russian origin anywhere near his airspace.
Yeah, and the timing on this, by the way, I think is important because we're hearing about it now as it's getting released. But this lines up with the invasion of Ukraine. So they all knew what was going on at the time and just wanted Putin to know what they were thinking.
Yeah, so I love the I love this. It has not been officially revealed whether the American jet's flight path was a deliberate provocation. Yeah, it was, and it was funny, and it was a good tension breaker and a team building exercise for the guys on that aircraft. And if it makes Putin mad, all the better. But holy smokes, that's a big boat. That's a lot of airplane to be flying around in troubled airspace.
Yeah, I didn't know exactly how big that plane is. I mean, you need a big plane, I suppose, to be able to pull off what they did. They did waste some gas.
No, there was a surveyor who did this over Seattle like 2 months ago. Don't you remember?
No.
Oh yeah, the guy was like in a Cessna or a Jayhawk or something, like a small private aircraft, and he was doing a survey flight. So you look at his flight pattern, and it again, I think it was over Seattle, but I don't quote me on that. And you see this perfectly aligned back and forth.
Oh yeah,
He was going back and forth, and it is tight. It is perfect. This is a pilot in control of his vehicle. And then as apparently his responsibilities were fulfilled, he comes in a generally southeasterly direction off of this perfect square of surveillance flight. And then there's a couple of loop-de-loops, and there's an extended back and forth, and it was of a similar
If I
rendering.
want to Google that, you're going to have to tell me off the air what words to use. Because I tried Seattle plane surveying, it didn't come up. But okay, I trust that.
Yeah,
here's where...
Would I lie about pilots at this skill level?
Absolutely not. You know what the other thing I like seeing is sometimes, and this was happening, I think, during COVID because people were bored, but you can kind of track your runs on these running apps, right? And then you can download it and see like what your course was. And so people were going out and doing pictures, these elaborate photos, and running with their activity tracker on.
Oh, yeah.
Like there was like a T-Rex and like all of these different ones that were things you could actually say on the air.
No, I love that. Oh, excuse me. No, this guy was oh, good Lord. I just got that entire story more or less wrong. So this was flying over the UK. Oh no, it was over the U.S.-Canadian border. So this is what happens when you don't preview a story. Mm-hmm. And so it was not wedding tackle. It was a bird of another sort.
Okay, see, I feel like we talked about that.
Yeah. I'm almost positive.
Yeah, didn't he get fired or something?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, so he's doing his job, and then they said, "Hey, buddy, we're done with you." And so then he did the year number one.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean if you're gonna leave, go out with a bang.
Would you ever sit down and figure out like a route to ride a bike or jog or whatever so that you could, I don't know, make a Valentine? Because you're not going to do this.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I would think about it. I think I would need some help because I'm not very good with some of the spatial stuff. Like I read a map and I like old school maps because I can turn them in the direction that I'm going, which you can't do on a phone because it always orients. So I would need some help. But yeah, I mean, it would be cool. It'd just harass people a little bit too.
I'm just
friendly ways.
I'm just proud that our boys on the front line sent a message to Vlad the Indigent. It's the afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Skip Echeverria, Philip Teresi. Oh, look at that. It's almost 6 o'clock.
And on northbound 41 at Van Ness right now, we got a hit-and-run non-injury accident there. Also, a couple of problems in Raymond, Highway 41 at Road 209, got an injury accident. Then on 41 northbound at Road 200, and that's in Coarsegold, there is a hazard that's having some road blockage. Other than that, things are looking pretty good out there. On the 168 right now, it's smooth sailing all the way up to Prather. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Hi, folks. Roger Evans here with a few thoughts about Jack Hanna. More than our spokesman, Jack was a Christian. Enthusiastic, kind, quick to help or advise, and he filled a void when we lost Dale. When he said he was riding for the Evans brand, he meant it. So we will strive to honor his legacy and keep running Evans Feed the same way that made Jack proud to represent us. Big boots to fill. Pretty sure he and Dale are singing the jingle together right now. This is Roger Evans for all of us at Evans Feed in Madera, Chowchilla, and Porterville.
It's that time of year again. Bari Olive Oil's annual Harvest Festival, Saturday, November 5th from 9 till 3 in Dinuba. They're turning 86 this year and want to celebrate with all of you. Amazing food, fun for the kids, car show for the dads, a little shopping for the ladies, and a blood drive. Join us at this free event Saturday, November 5th from 9 till 3 at their place in Dinuba. For more information, give us a call at 595-9260. That's 595-9260. Or go to barioliveoil.com.
Ad paid for by Montreal Drugstore. Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. PowerPill allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 per pill? Call today and get 50 Viagra pills for only $99. This could cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call this if you want Viagra at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-204-0017 today to save up to $500 and get 50 pills for just $99. PowerPill is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-204-0017 to take your call now. Call 800-204-0017. That's 800-204-0017. Again, 800-204-0017.
Inflation goes up. Do you feel like you need to refinance your car to fill up the gas tank? What if 2 years ago, someone offered to sell you a lifetime supply of gas at $2.75 a gallon, but you told them no? today, you would be kicking yourself. Right now, Planet Solar has that same offer for you on your electric bill. As inflation goes up, so does your utility bill. Lock in your energy prices today with a new Planet Solar system. Planet Solar is locally owned and operated in Clovis. They're big enough to offer you all the best brands and in-house financing, but small enough to give you the personal service you deserve. Call Planet Solar to find out how to lock in your electricity costs today. You'll be glad you did. Call them at 559-228-9245 or find them on the web at planetsolar.com. That's 228-9245 or planetsolar.com. License number 938313.
We run our AC pretty much all summer long. Our electric bills are pretty high.
I'm concerned about the condition of our infrastructure.
Recently in California with the fires, they said that they're going to shut off the power and it could be shut off for longer periods than usual.
I looked at our electric bills and they keep going up and up and up.
We had to find a solution to our energy bill.
Your home is an ecosystem. Solar power, battery storage, and efficient air conditioning all work together to ensure your house is comfortable, protected, and self-sustaining. Save today and prepare for tomorrow with Semper 360, the all-in-one home energy solution.
The savings are better than what I expected.
I said, I want the 18. This was the 18.
From the beginning to the end, they have been the best.
Declare your energy independence with Semper Solaris, your local and veteran-owned solar, battery, and air contractor. Take advantage of the 30% federal solar tax credit. 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 12 months. For all offers, call 559-242-1800 or visit sempersolaris.com. Expires October 31st, 2022. CSLB 978-152.
Miss one of your favorite KMJ shows? Grab the podcast anytime. Just ask your smart speaker. Get it on Apple, Google, Amazon, Spotify, or go to the podcast page at kmjnow.com.
Everything that happens in Fresno's got to run the gauntlet at KMJ. It is such a blessing for you all to have what you have. It's been 100 years of communicating with your community. There's nothing like that for 1,000 miles.
And so ends our broadcast day.
And just like that, we're just about out of here. If you missed any part of the show, you can get the podcast at kmjnow.com after the show. But before we go, a little Fresno love. Sometimes Fresno is in the news or goes viral for things we're not too proud of. I don't remember the latest story where it was like, oh man, not Fresno, but I know we've had them.
Yeah.
Both goofy ones and both ones where they're shameful. This one is fun, though. It's kind of fun. I don't want to play with these guys, but I'll watch it. I'll get beat.
A local band by the name of Scoundrel has produced a music video for their track Ides of March. It's got a funny theme, a very much Dodgeball the movie kind of theme. And they shot the entire thing on the campus of Rio Vista.
Now, if you're looking up Scoundrel, they would like you to know that they are the band your mom told you not to listen to. And they released this video on October 21st, took months of production, but is already like closing in on 40,000 views.
So before we get to the music, there's a little bit of a setup for the theme of the video. Shall we give the announcers an opportunity to set the stage?
Yes.
Good afternoon, I am Fred, and we are here in beautiful Fresno, California, where we finally reached the climax to our dodgeball tournament today. I am joined courtside by team captain of Life Jacket, J-Dub, who's also had to face these fierce competitors. How are you doing, sir?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Good to be here in Fresno, California. You know, come here on vacation, leave on probation, as they say. And boy, do these competitors reflect that. Fierce competitors. Scoundrels, they are a one team that's going to be one to beat. So it's going to be a great day.
Absolutely, wonderful day. Oh, I'm being told the competitors are now entering the court.
And at this point, they pull back to what is very clearly two heavy metal bands squaring off on the dodgeball court.
A lot going on there.
I'm just thrilled we got a death metal band in town that's that clean.
I guess I'm surprised that they allowed them on the school to do it. Do you think the school knew?
No.
So they're going to get like a cease and desist from Central Unified?
No, leave them alone. There's not even any bad words in the video. It's funny.
You know what? These kids, I say kids, these young men that are in the video, they may be an age where they went to Rio Vista, which is kind of scary because Rio Vista's been there that long and I remember it before then. That's awesome.
I love it. I'm already like somewhat ironically a fan of like really ridiculous over the top death metal. The fact that these are local guys and that they made a video that I could see Dave Grohl signing off on.
It is really well done.
The whole vibe's just goofy. All right. I know the KMJ audience doesn't love death metal. But if you thought it was funny, if you want to see the video, go check out Scoundrel. Look up Ides of March. We'll post a link so you can take a look at it in your leisure time. Even if you don't dig the music, if you know Rio Vista at all, it's just a cool thing. And the fact that they're pulling some viral traction here is a nice little bonus for some local kids trying to do something.
Yeah, so we have the link up there. They celebrated their 4th year of being a band on Halloween.
Oh, my.
Yep.
We got to go. The great one, Mark Levin, is going to roll up after an update of headlines from the ABC newsroom. Before that, we'll hear from our friends at the Valley's Legends and Legacies. Thank you guys for your calls, for your time, and for your attention. Thank you to Lan Hee Chen for joining us earlier today. If you missed that interview, head over to the podcast section at kmjnow.com. We will join you tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock for the Friday show on KMJ.
Bye.